Welcome in. Welcome in. How is everybody doing? Rolly, you are first. So, welcome in. Welcome in. And for those over on YouTube, we do have a link for YouTube now. So, I can now start bringing people on for YouTube. Um, Joe on YouTube or Rolly, whichever one is on YouTube, if you guys could go check and just make sure that that link is there, see if it's there. Just let me know. Hello, can I get your age?
I'm 37.
And are you a Christian? I know we've talked before, but are you a Christian?
I'm a kind of Christian, yeah.
Yeah, and what's your views on Christianity? What when you say kind of, what do you mean by that?
Methodist.
Okay, yeah, I think we have talked before. And you do not hold the sola scriptura, correct?
Precisely.
All right, but you do believe that the laws given by and real quick, do you believe that Jesus is God?
I do.
Okay. So I guess my question for you be then is you've been up here before with the same topic. So my question is like why is God a sick monster?
Oh, I don't believe he is.
Yeah. When you were here up here before, did we discuss Mark 7?
I no, I don't think we did.
Okay. So in Mark 7, because the big thing that we get is a lot of Christians will be like, well, that's the Old Testament. We believe in the New Covenant, the New Testament. Um, so what was going on is um, during the, well, mainly through the Greek invasion, the Greek occupation, and some other things, the Pharisees and the Jews had began to recognize that some of the laws that they had probably weren't very good, right? We probably shouldn't be stoning people. The virginity test was just garbage. We probably shouldn't be doing the virginity test. Get rid of it. And so they started building what are called fences around Torah. One example of these fences that we have today is you'll often hear where Jews will say they can't eat milk with meat. So no milk, no dairy at all, and no meat. And that's not actually found in Torah. All the Torah says is like if you're eating beef, you can't have milk with beef. Like if it's cow's milk, you can't have beef. If it's goat's milk, you can't have goat. That's what the Torah actually says. But to build a fence around the Torah so you can't touch Torah, they just put an outright ban on any any dairy with any meat. So they built fences. And we see this in Mark 7. In Mark 7, the Pharisees have started to institute hand washing. And this isn't something that's found in Torah. And I'll get this brought up on screen real quick. Still trying to get used to transitioning with doing all this through OBS versus TikTok. I'm gonna have to go update that real quick. Hold up, this will just take a quick minute for me to get this here updated. I seem to have to do this with OBS like once alive. There we go. So here's Mark 7. You'll see now when the Pharisees and some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around him, they noticed that some of his disciples were eating with defiled hands, that is, without washing them. And so essentially they go and they start to chastise the disciples and they start questioning Jesus. Like, why do your disciples, here in verse 5, why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands? He said to them, Isaiah prophesied rightly about you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching human precepts as doctrines. you abandon the commandments of God and hold the human tradition. Before we go on, I need to make another clarification here too. You'll read here where he's going to mention this Corban word. And what Corban was, well, if we're not going to be throwing rocks at people anymore, what do we do? How do we fix this injustice? So they do this Corban, which is where they pay an extra tithing, an extra offering. They do something else to redeem the lack of an unalivement. So that's important. I'm just saying that now so I can read this without interruption. Then he said to them, "You have a fine way of rejecting the commandments of God in order to hold to your tradition. For Moses said, 'Honor your father and your mother, and whoever speaks evil of father or mother must surely die.'" So Jesus here is quoting the Old Testament, is quoting it. "But you say that if anyone tells mother or father, 'Whatever support you might have had from me is Corban, that is an offering to God,' then you no longer permit doing anything for a father or mother, thus nullifying the word of God through your traditions that you have handed on." So Jesus is saying, these traditions that you have are nullifying the word of God. We have the Torah, we have the law, follow the law. And then he's also quoting, whoever speaks evil of father and mother must surely die. So he's quoting it. So my question is, why is Jesus perfectly okay with unaliving people who backsass their parents?
So you believe Jesus said that?
Oh, I don't believe that. I'm an atheist. I don't believe it, but it's in
Oh,
your
okay. So
Bible.
then
So
why well, so the way you framed the question was,
mhm.
why does Jesus say that? So
Yeah, in your
so
worldview, it's
you
your Bible.
don't believe Jesus said that?
No, I'm an atheist. I'm a mythicist.
So
I don't
then
even
why?
believe Jesus existed.
Atheist or not, like there are tons of biblical
Mm-hmm.
scholars who are Christian, who are Buddhist, who are Muslim, who read the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. So
Oh,
there are tons
oh,
of biblical scholars who come from all like frameworks
mm-hmm.
of
Uh-huh.
theology and philosophy who read the Bible and assess this text. The way you prompted it was that you said, "Why did Jesus say that?"
Yeah. Well, that's not what I
So
said. I
why
said
why did
why
you
it.
say
No, no, no. What I
why
said
did you
is,
say it like that?
well, what I said is why. That's not what I said. I said, why is Jesus okay with unaliving people for backsassing their parents? That's
Okay,
what
so
I
yeah,
said.
so you believe that Jesus believes that and he said that, and
No,
that's
this is your worldview. Do you not believe Jesus said those words?
no. No.
Oh.
In fact, the majority of Christians don't take infallibility or inerrancy seriously, or univocality for that matter. This was the author, the Mark, who we call Mark,
Mm-hmm.
writing, quoting Jesus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you don't believe Jesus said those words? So is Mark lying then when he's quoting Jesus?
Well, think he's doing the best he can.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I asked. Is he quoting Jesus
I think he's
correctly, or
doing
is
well.
he
And it is exactly what you're asking. I don't think he's lying. I think he's doing the best he can.
Yeah, so you don't believe that Jesus supported the Torah?
I no, absolutely. Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah, so he supported Torah, right? In your worldview.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, if Jesus supported Torah and you're a Christian and you believe Jesus is God, then my question then is, why were these laws given in the
So
Old
you want to
Testament?
just talk about like Old Testament law?
Well, yeah, you just said that Jesus is
Yeah.
God and you believe
Yeah. No,
that
we
Jesus
can do Old
supported the
Testament
old
law. You
law.
don't have to go through the whole spiel. Okay,
Yeah.
we can talk about Old Testament law. Yeah, I think it was. I think the Old Testament law. So Jesus being human
Mm-hmm.
was somebody who absolutely read the Torah, more than
Mm-hmm.
likely memorized it,
Mm-hmm.
and by all means probably believed in it
Yeah.
to his heart's content, and but could have been wrong in his human nature.
But he's God, right? Is he fully God, or is he part God?
He's fully God and fully human.
Yeah, so if he's fully God, right, then he would have a full understanding of the laws that he gave, correct?
Not if he emptied himself.
Well, what evidence do you have that he emptied himself? Can you show me the law where he emptied himself?
Well, I mean, in the Bible, it talks about how Jesus Christ emptied himself.
Yeah, give me that verse. We'll go read it together.
Yeah. Let me. I don't have it memorized. I do apologize. Can I? You're not going to be able to hear me speak. I have to look it up on my phone. Do you
Yeah, you
mind
can
if
just
I
bring it up.
step away?
Yeah, you can step
Yeah.
away, and I can bring it up.
Well, I mean, if you just want to bring it up, just literally Google
Yeah,
where
that's
Jesus
what I'll
emptied
do.
himself. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we'll
Go
see if
ahead.
we can find it.
Well, it's just Google that. Very popular verse.
In Philippians 2:7. That's the
I'll know
verse.
when you read it.
Okay, yep. Let me get this brought up real quick. That's the verse that came up. It talks about taking the form of a slave.
Well, you read the verse.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna read this real quick. Gotta get it in the context. All right. Yep. So we'll get this brought up. Make sure this is the right one because I googled what you asked me to. This is the only verse
Yeah,
that
there's
it
only
brought
one.
up. Yep. So what it says is, if then there is any comfort in Christ, any consolation from, so this is starting in verse 1, any partnership in the Spirit, any tender affection and sympathy, make my joy complete, be of the same mind, having of the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or empty conceit, but in humility regarding others, but in humility regarding others as better than yourself, let each of you look not to your own interest, but to the interest of others. Let's have the same mind in you that was in Jesus Christ, right? So, the context of this reading up here now is that we're talking about, Jesus, who was high, humbled himself and sacrificed himself for us, right? So that's what this is saying, right? So we need to have that same mind. We need to humble ourselves in order to be level with people, to sacrifice ourselves for those lower than us. Who, though he existed in the form of God, did not regard equality with regard as something to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, assuming human likeness, and being found in appearance as a human. Is this it? He humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Therefore, is that the verse you're talking about? The passage?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Therefore, God exalted him even more highly and gave him the name that is above every other name, so that the name given to Jesus every knee should bend in heaven, on earth, and underground. Right. So my question here then is, right, this is just saying
Well,
that. Yeah, go ahead.
first, do you agree that Jesus Christ emptied himself and
I would
became
say
in the form of a human?
he found appearance. It states specifically he took appearance. He assumed
Well, what's your
human
what?
likeness. Well, it says he took human likeness and he found appearance as a human. It doesn't say he became human. He took a likeness and an appearance of. It doesn't say he became human. So he's still God,
Well,
right?
that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking about the emptiness.
Yeah, he emptied himself, meaning he lowered himself to take on the likeness of human and
Right.
the likeness of thing, right? But that doesn't mean like he became human, right? He's
Well,
still
no,
fully God.
didn't say that. Yeah, of course,
Hmm.
that's what Christians believe, but we believe he
Yeah,
also emptied himself. Just
yeah.
like for instance, it's consistent with him not knowing the day or the hour.
I don't think that's what
Like
this
it's
says.
perfectly consistent.
This doesn't say
Okay,
anything
so
about his knowledge.
what hermeneutic principle are you using?
Yeah, I'm just reading the words. The words
Yeah,
state.
but do you know what hermeneutics means?
Yes, I know what hermeneutics are, right? So
So what
hermeneutics is.
hermeneutic principle are you using?
Yeah, so what I'm using is that what we're talking about up here,
Which
because when we
principle?
use well, yeah, Well, give me
It
an
like it
example.
should be the
Well, give me
principle
an
of
example on
embarrassment.
what you mean by hermeneutics. Give me an example. I guess I'm not. I'm.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
probably
the
going to talk
principle.
by each other.
Like, so for instance, like embarrassment. Right, things are more likely to be true when they embarrass either the
Oh,
main
that's not
character.
true. That's not true.
Well, I
There's
mean, it
there is a
is.
Greek deity who quite literally had his penis
Wait,
ripped
wait,
off.
wait. Are you disagreeing
Sure
with
did.
the hermeneutic of embarrassment?
Yeah, I disagree with that because, like I said, there
Wait.
is a
Really
Greek.
though?
Yeah, because there are deities. There is a Greek deity who had
No,
his
no, no. I'm not
penis
asking
ripped
if it's
off,
it's not
and
perfect.
that doesn't make
It's a general rule. It's a
it's
general rule.
not
It's
that
not it's
that's an
not
apolo.
perfect.
No, that's an apologetic that you want to
Wait,
pull.
wait, no, no. The critical scholars use this. Like,
No, they
but Robert.
don't. They
Wait.
don't.
What?
Christians use this. Christians use this.
Wait.
Christians
The
use this
principle
as
of
an
embarrassment isn't
apologist.
used by critical scholars. Is that your claim?
Well, my claim is that
No,
apologetics,
no,
who
no, no.
may be
That's a yes or
scholars,
no.
use this.
No. That's a yes or no. That's a
No,
yes or no.
no.
So,
Why can't he ever let you talk? I will never understand that.
He never does. He never does. Oh, he dropped.
Like, I seriously, like, does he lack self-control?
Right. And like I said, the idea of like embarrassment is just ridiculous because again, under his worldview, if we're to accept embarrassment as an apologetic, then he would and I don't remember the name. What was the name of the Greek god who had his penis ripped off?
He was a minor deity. That's something I have to look up. He's
Was it
rarely
Pan?
talked about, but
It wasn't Pan, was it?
no, it wasn't
I
banned. No.
didn't think so. But yeah, there's a minor deity that quite literally had his penis ripped off. And that's embarrassing for being a god and having your Tyr, the god Tyr, the Norse god Tyr, literally had his arm bit off. Like, if we're going to talk about the criterion of embarrassment, and that's going to be your harmony, then you must accept Tyr as a god. You must accept this minor Greek deity as a god if that is the criterion. But you don't accept that criterion, so I'm not going to accept it. So, anyways, welcome in, welcome in. For those who are, and Blake is already on top of it, those over on YouTube, I do have Video Ninja up. So if you do want to join the conversation,
Apparently, they changed the narrative because they're saying that Dionysus was the one who had his penis ripped off and the blood from the penis spewed out and created the almond tree.
remind me to stay away from yeah, they stole Osiris's eye. Osiris's eye was stolen. Thor had his, or sorry, Odin had his eye removed so that he could gain
No,
knowledge.
that was.
Like this
Wait,
criterion
did
of
you say
embarrassment.
Osiris or Horus? Because Horus is the one with the missing
Horus.
eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is Horus. But so yeah, Moshe, it was Horus, but Osiris was defeated and his body was cut up. Like this criterion of embarrassment just isn't a standard for anything. Like gods have been embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. So can I say something to the comment section real quick?
Yep.
DJ Flippa, I have answered you twice now. I'm pretty sure people in chat have seen my response to you. And you constantly tagging me with question marks, leaving the same stupid question on a post that has nothing to do with Jaren is pissing me off and is starting to push my boundaries. I answered your question twice. If you really want to fucking know and you don't want to hear my word for it, Jaren's in the fucking chat.
Wait, what's you don't have to say it here, but what's going on?
What happened to Jaren's life? What happened to his life? Malakia, I answered you twice in chat already.
Wait, was that Jaren, was that the second time you were live today? Because Jaren
I
went
think
live
it was.
twice today.
And don't fucking tell me to calm down. You're over here harassing me in the chat after I fucking answered you twice. No one has been even commenting for it to get lost in chat.
Hanji, just about 5 or
Fucking
10
tell
more
me to
minutes,
calm
and then drop
down.
the F-bombs. But like 5 or 10 more minutes.
But yeah, so Christians, right now, Moshe, I see you in there. I am only looking for opposition right now. Let me get this this window down. But Christians, hop in the box. I want to know, why is God a sick fuck? Let's talk about it. I do have Video Ninja working, so if you're over on YouTube, go look in the description. Click the link in the description. Join Video Ninja up there. I can talk with you over on YouTube as well. The only thing you need to do when you're on YouTube, if you're using Video Ninja, make sure you have earbuds. Have an earbud, because if there's an echo, I'm going to give you like one opportunity to get earbuds in. If you don't, I'm going to drop you, because nobody wants to hear that echo. And you're not required to turn your camera on. I won't be requiring anybody to turn their camera on. And yeah, and right now we are going strong. We got 52 over on YouTube. We've got 32 here. So Christians, where you at? Where you at? Come on up. Let's talk about it. I still can't believe he ran. Probably because he was afraid that I was just going to shatter the criterion of embarrassment for him. I don't even know
Testicle
why.
Christians like that don't seem to realize that the hell that they believe in is exactly where they're going.
Right. Well, I think the thing that got him is, well, because it was weird, because, you know, I was talking about Mark 7, because it is true, not every Christian holds the sola scriptura, right? They don't all do that, which is fine. I'm cool with that. BC, he tried to bring up, so there is this idea called the criterion of embarrassment. So the criterion of embarrassment states that Jesus must have been real, must have been a deity, because of the criterion of embarrassment. There is no way that people are just going to like voluntarily embarrass their deity, and the idea that he was crucified is embarrassing, and thus it had to have happened because of the criterion of embarrassment. But again, as we've been discussing, there's a Greek minor deity who literally had his penis ripped off. Horus had his eye ripped out. Thor lost his eye in order to gain knowledge. Osiris literally lost in battle. Osiris lost in battle, had his body cut up into pieces, and then when it finally got stitched together, the man turned green, right? Like, these are all criterion of embarrassments for these deities, for these mythologies. And so if you are going to hold to that I must accept the criterion of embarrassment, then you likewise must also hold to the criterion of embarrassment. And I think he saw where I was going with that, and he just wasn't wanting to hold to that himself, so he ran. And let me get, we have Rolly here, we have Hanji here. And Jaren, if you want to come up, we'll give Jaren big screen, and we'll just let Jaren take over the live if Jaren wants to finish his live. I don't think Jaren will come up, though. Oh, we do have somebody over on Video Ninja. Let me get them. Oh, they ran. The person that was on Video Ninja is going to bring you up. But they are not there anymore. Hear that, Jaren? According to Arizona Mike, you talk way too much. See what's going on over here. Mr. Green over on YouTube. There is a link in the description. Go select the link and we can talk about it. I would love to talk with you. Blake is also, every now and then, Blake might be posting the link there, but it is in the description. go click the link and let's talk about it. I would love to hear why you think Jesus loves me, because that's kind of creepy. Like, I'm fairly certain if I asked Hanji, is there anywhere in Greek mythology that says, like, Zeus loves you?
That's cute.
Right? Like, it's just goofy when, like, you think that this deity loves you. It's just weird. It's goofy.
I mean, he might love a night with you, depending if you're hot enough and if you're
If you're hot
interested.
enough.
But no.
Ugh. But I am waiting. We've got Video Ninja up. We've got, oh, there we go. We've got somebody over on Video Ninja. Let's get them brought up real quick. Can you hear me, guest? Up and they dropped.
Now, you're using Video Ninja, yes?
Yes.
Will we be able to hear them, and will they be able to hear the panel?
They cannot hear the panel. You should be able to hear them. You might be able to hear them. Blake and Joe and I tested it earlier. Blake could hear it from chat. I don't know if the panel will hear it yet, because sometimes the panel hears things differently. But no, they will not be able to hear you.
Okay.
So, yeah, unfortunately, they don't have a bridge for that yet. I wish they did. I wish they would. We could come up with something for that, but we don't have anything for that yet. That also means that they won't be able to hear my soundboards either. So I'll be over here trolling them with soundboards, and they're not going to be able to hear that.
It'll be entertainment for chat, though.
Mr. Green, is it weird for your biological father to love you? Mr. Green, are you Mormon? You're sounding very Mormon. But see, love is like a human trait. And so, yeah, my biological father, who has a brain with brain chemistry, can absolutely love me. But a God who doesn't have a brain, he's just a mind, but he doesn't have a brain, a God can't love. They're incapable of love. Right, absolutely, Fenton over on YouTube. I've got evidence of human fathers loving. We have 0 for imaginary beings. 100%. 100%. You know what, Knight, if you're not busy, do you wanna come on up and host as a special co-host tonight? If you want to come up, you're more than welcome to. And everybody in chat, if you're not following Knight, give Knight a follow. Knight is awesome. Knight is doing this grind as well. So give Knight a follow as well. We've got a lot of Christians over there. Mojo, I did not have a Christian upbringing. I had a Jewish upbringing. But no, I did not have a Christian upbringing. When I was deconstructing Judaism, I was like, it's hard to lose religion. I did look for another community. Literally read Matthew chapter 1, and I said, verses 11 and 12, that's goofy. That man was cursed. There's no way the Mashiach comes from him. He was cursed. And then when I got to Matthew chapter 2 and started reading what some of the early messianic prophecies, I closed the book, put it back on a shelf, and said, that's enough goofiness for today. Because Matthew gets nothing correct about Jewish culture. And that's crazy because Matthew was supposedly written for the Jews. And it's goofy. Matthew doesn't understand Jewish culture at all. Like whoever said, Matthew, write this, it's for the Jewish people, chose the wrong person. Definitely chose the wrong person. But yes, so you know what? Something that lately, this hasn't been gaining much traction lately, this topic. The topic that has been, though, has really been this one. This one is the one that has been bringing people up quite a bit. So we'll run this one. And we'll see if this go. Okay, there we go. YouTube is on like a 10-second delay. So YouTube every now and then it catches me off my eyes. But yeah, we'll bring this one up. So yes, Tiny Blonde. So I do run this other argument when people come up and they want to talk about pray. I'll get Christians. I'll come up and say, "Well, have you tried to pray?" And I'll be like, does prayer work? Do you believe in the power of prayer?" And then I'll go quote where Jesus says a number of times. Jesus says, "If you pray in my name, to glorify the Father, I will do anything you ask," because again, it glorifies the Father, "and whatever you ask, I will give you." So I will ask them if they can remove a monster cap. I'll just ask if they can remove a monster cap. And if you go look on my TikTok profile, I think I have the video posted on YouTube as well. You can see where I've had, I think 2 people have tried to pray already, and nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. The cap did not come off. We even took like a 10-second pause. Jake was even like, "So, how long do we wait for immediately?" Fenton, yes, that is the idea, is that God, who is God, set the laws that were heinous. So he sent himself down to sacrifice himself to himself to save us from himself for the damnation that he himself bestowed upon us due to the rules that he himself made. So it sounds like a lot of he himself and just a bunch of like narcissism with God. Still can't believe what's his name ran like a baby. Bill Gates, he doesn't realize that glorifying the Father doesn't mean proving that God exists to humans. Oh, so we'll go bring up the scripture. We'll bring up the scripture and we'll let you read what Jesus' own word says. Unless you're going to say Jesus is a liar. If Jesus is a liar, so where we're going to find this is going to be in John 13 through 14. I think we see it again in 16, I think. I think we get it again in 16. We'll get this brought up. We'll settle this here debate right now with the words of Jesus himself. So we'll go to John 14 first. And so what is going on here? We'll get this popped up on the screen. What is happening here is that Philip and the apostles are kind of questioning Jesus. They're starting to face some persecution. They're having some issues. And they're like, hey, are you really him? Like, are you the guy? Like, we've been following you. Things have been getting kind of heated, but are you really the guy? And verse 8, Philip says to him, Lord, show us the Father, and we will be satisfied. Jesus said to him, have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me does his work. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. But if you do not, then believe because of the works themselves. Very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me, so there's criteria here, the one who believes in me, so you have to have faith, right? I don't have faith, so I can't say prayers. I don't have faith. The one who believes in me will also do the works that I do. And in fact, he doubles down with the power that he's going to give. And in fact, will do greater works than these. So you are capable of doing greater works than Jesus. Because I am going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask. Make this green. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it. We'll get this, I will do it. We'll get that highlighted in blue. So the criteria here is you must believe in Christ, and if you believe in him, then you will in fact be capable of doing greater works than Jesus does, and he will do whatever you ask because it's going to glorify the Father. So anything that you ask in his name, if you believe, he will do it. This is what Jesus says. And then if we go to John 16:23, it says, on that day you will ask nothing of me. Very truly, I tell you, if you ask anything of the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Until now you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask and you will receive, so that your joy may be complete. So, right there it is, ladies and gentlemen, people over there on YouTube. You can ask Jesus for anything, and he will grant it. Man, we got a lot of Christians over there on YouTube doing a lot of chit-chatting. Christians over on YouTube, if you want to join in the discussion, there is a link in my description. Go click the link in the description. It will connect you to Video Ninja. I can bring you over to TikTok through Video Ninja. And everybody on both TikTok and YouTube will be able to hear our conversation. The only people that won't be able to dialogue with you will be Hanji and Rolly. They'll be able to hear you, but they won't be able to respond to you. If they respond, you just won't hear them. But it is open. Come on over, let's chat. I know yesterday there were a lot of you wanting to jump in and join. Rolly, can you bring up the guest that's in the box? Or Hanji, Juanez?
There's no one in the box.
Yeah, it's a private guest.
Mother... I will get to where... Oh, there we go. Got it. We're going to bring up Troy. I don't know who's on that background.
All right, Troy, what is your age?
It's 23. It's John A. MacDonald. He's the founder of modern Canada.
Oh, fair enough. I
Yeah,
should learn more about that.
Troy, are you
So
a Christian?
No, no, I said that in the comments. Uh, I was talking about the
Oh, what did he say
Ah,
in
I wish
comments
I could
now?
do that.
Now I'm curious what he said. What did he say? What did he say?
I have no idea.
I'm not seeing his comments. Yes, Charlie, my pants are on fire. It has been a crazy itch lasting all day.
You should have a nurse check that out. Also, truth never lies. Why do atheists bully Christians afraid of God's chosen people? Well, unless you're Jewish, like host here, you're not his chosen people. And that's according to your scriptures as well.
All
Tom, the
right.
main reason why you were kicked, I didn't do it, is because we are not looking for a friendly discussion. We are looking strictly for a debate in the background. So if you are not of the Abrahamic belief system, we are not trying to waste time. We are trying to get opposition in the panel.
Yep. And I do have a video guest up. Um Guest, can I get your name and age, or can I get your age? And they dropped. Of course they dropped. People are so scared to give their age. It's wild. Man, people just don't want to be talking. So, but yeah, Christians, God is really sending His strongest soldiers tonight. Jesus would truly be proud of every single Christian over on YouTube right now for not coming over into the chat, not hopping in the video ninja box and wanting to have this debate, have this discussion. Um, Doug is strong in this. Yes, Doug is rock solid in this debate right now. These Christians, especially the ones over on YouTube, definitely have got nothing on the almighty rock god himself, Doug. But yeah, so Christians, hop on over though. Again, Blake up in that chat. Blake has been posting the Video Ninja link. Give it a click, hop in, let's talk. We've got somebody over here on Video Ninja. Let me go ahead and get them over here. Guess, can I get your age? Are you there, guest? And Hanji and Rolly, can you hear his background noise?
Not all.
He's got background noise. Yes, whoever just wrote in chat, yes, you do need to use a microphone. The YouTube and TikTok needs to be able to hear you. So yes, you do need to use a microphone. And you are muted right now if you're not aware. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and hang up. If you decide to come back up, come back up. We'll have this discussion. At least I know that the link is working, so that's good. Hanji and Rolly, were you able to hear? He had like some light music playing in the background.
Told you we couldn't hear him at all.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. We have this anonymous Pookie. You are insane. What the fuck? Hop on up, anonymous Pookie. Link is in the description. Over on YouTube, hop on in. Let's talk about it. Christians that are over here, we're at 12K. Once we get up to 20K, if I haven't had, and once we hit 20K, if we don't have a guest come up, we'll do a quick restart. I would love to get in some debates before then, though.
Who knows? Maybe the runner will come back after the restart.
Right, we could do this too. Oh, instead of doing that, we could just turn off the camera and just let Jesus be roasting there. Jesus just burn. This is representative of the 3 days. This is representative of Jesus for 3 days when he apparently went to hell. Maybe we will just run this for a little bit. My camera not on. Just let the Christians watch Monster Jesus burning in hell. Maybe that'll get him coming up. What the fuck? Why are you doing that to Jesus?
Like Usher said, let it burn.
And yes, if you do like debates, if you do like the live, give me a support. Give me a subscription. I am hoping to hit 3,000. Hopefully I'll hit 3,000 watch hours by the end of next week. Hopefully. We will see. But I'm just wondering why God's soldiers just suck. Small potatoes. I'm doing okay. It's a little warm down here. This is where the Christians said I was gonna go. Monster Jesus didn't save, so I'm just chilling down here in the flames of hell. It's going smooth. It's going swell. But Rolly and Hanji are here with me. At least in spirit. They're here at least in spirit. We've got their circle PFPs here.
Wait until the Christians find out Jesus never existed.
Right. Wait till they find out I'm a mythicist.
All three of us, actually. Actually, no. I don't think Rolly's a mythicist. Rolly, are you a mythicist?
Mm-hmm. I've
Oh,
heard
okay.
demon exist.
Yeah, Rolly's like the super mythicist. Rolly is a firm believer that she's a brain in a vat and we're just figments of the imagination.
Well, if the
We're in
bat's
the
the body, then
Matrix.
absolutely.
No, it's not a matrix because there's nobody like
I
feeding off of her.
know. I was doing a joke. Not a dick. Don't take it so hard, Cyber.
Why not? They feel better that way.
Yeah, and only on days that end in Y.
Ah, I am kinship to you both.
All right, so on TikTok, we're gonna go ahead and knock out a quick restart. So we'll knock out this quick restart. YouTube, you guys won't be affected by this. But once we come back, we need to get up to 10K as quickly as we can. Also, that little heart me up by my name, if you could share one of those or like one coin. Gift or team goals, if you are access to the team gifts, those help. Leaving engagement in the chat, all that stuff helps. I'll see you here in just a few minutes or a few seconds. Give me like, we're gonna hit this,
Try,
come
can
back
you
in like
prove
30
my
seconds.
divinity? Try, can you prove my divinity? Start from
Yeah,
that.
I can run that one. I can run that one. So, those of you over on YouTube, go ahead, keep sharing the likes, keep tapping the heart, keep tapping those. That helps out. Give me a subscription. If you like debates, we've got this coming back up. Hopefully it will get better. Sometimes these debates take a bit. We do have a few other deconstruction creators live on both TikTok and YouTube right now. So sometimes it just takes a minute. Okay, I'm hitting view. Gosh, dang it. One day we will find a better way. Hanji, if Rolly's in the box, or Rolly, if you're here, I'm trying to bring people up. The multi-guest box doesn't always like to work when I'm running. Oh, there we go. We getting Hanji's coming up. Welcome up, welcome up.
Where's the screen dark?
There it goes. So is Knuckles in the box right now?
Yeah, they're friendly, but I'm gonna have to drop and come back because your screen is dark. Hold on.
Oh.
Right, I got the same thing.
Oh shit, we both had to drop. BRB!
I don't know why the screen's black. It's appearing over on YouTube. Chat, put 1 in the chat if the screen looks okay.
I can see you now.
All right, that's good. That's good. All
Much
right.
better.
All right. And yeah,
And also, it looks fine in the chat, and it looks fine on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sometimes when you are in the chat, things look different. Whoever's in the box, can we bring them up?
Oh, it's the do-bag again. Hello, douche canoe.
Wait, who is it? I can't see your names.
You can see TikTok?
All you guys are appearing for me, or white white circles.
Cyber, it's your favorite friend that just was that ran from the last one.
Oh,
What did I
welcome,
fucking say?
welcome back.
It's the canoe of douches.
So can we agree that the criterion of embarrassment, you don't hold to it for any other deities, so we're just not going to hold to it for Jesus?
I mean, fucking
telling you that criterion of embarrassment scares them.
That guy is obnoxious, his hubris shows, his ego is too large, and he's definitely not punk rock.
Hell is gonna be hot for him.
Oh. Look, don't bring up the criterion of embarrassment if you realize, or when you don't realize that if you hold to it, you must also accept it for the other deities. Like, you don't just get to hold it for Jesus, you've got to hold it for any deity, especially those that had their penises ripped off, especially the ones that had their penises ripped off. Jesus never had his penis ripped off. But now
Dionysus and Osiris said, do not bring us into this.
Oh, it was It was sorry. It was the it was Uranus. It was a Titan. Uranus had his Uranus had his testicles ripped off by Cronus, and they were thrown in the sea, and thus Aphrodite was born.
Yep. And then you see it again with Dionysus, which the blood from his pee grew an almond tree. The next time you have almond milk, you are drinking the blood of Dionysus's peen. Enjoy that.
Well,
I love almond milk.
given the color of almond milk, I don't think it's the blood.
Giggity. Listen, between oat milk and almond milk, I love them both.
Just Robinson. Hop in the go look at my description. There is a link to Video Ninja. For everybody on YouTube, there is a link to Video Ninja in my description. Blake is posting it right there. Give it a follow. Or go ahead and click it. Hop over on Video Ninja and we can debate. I know people over on YouTube have been wanting to be able to come over and do debates, and not everybody has TikTok, so we found a way to be able to bring you guys over to have a talk. How far back in the historical genealogy do Jews believe is accurate? It's really going to depend on the sect of Judaism. If like you're looking at more like the Orthodox, they're going to take it all the way back because they hold the Bible to be literal. But the majority of them are going to realize that probably the earliest potentially true person that actually existed was David. And the only reason why they would grant David is because we have a dynasty named after him. There's things named after him. But even David is up in the air whether or not David existed or not. But that's probably the farthest back. We got Breto's people. Please, guys, pray. Anything helps. Oh, we got somebody over here on Video Ninja. We're going to go ahead and... Oh. How you doing, guest? I guess on Video Ninja, it does look like you are muted. Can you go ahead and unmute? And are you talking? Because if I cannot hear you, do you have a microphone selected? Guest on... Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you. Chat real quick. Chat on TikTok and YouTube. Let's put ones in the chat if we can hear him. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. So yeah, so the um you should be able to hear me through here, but if you can only hear me through YouTube, we might need to deal with that. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that right now. But the question is, can you prove the divinity of Christ? Are you there? Okay. Yeah, did you hear the question I asked? Okay. Let me drop you, come back up, and we'll see. I don't know why. We were testing this earlier, and I could. Yeah, let me hang up, come back up. All right, that person that was on YouTube, that was just in Video Ninja, come back up. I don't know why it is saying that you can't, or why you can't hear me through the app. You should be able to. There might be some things on your end that you need to click. So Justin uses Video Ninja. It's just getting him. He was saying he was only hearing me through YouTube, but I think that's settings on his end because we tested it about an hour before I went live, and it was working okay then. But yeah, if you do want to come back, give it a go. See if he comes back in. Hasn't yet. So Jake Zambrano, go ahead and click the link in the description. Come on up over from YouTube. We'd love to chat with you. And Prodigal Prince, come on over. We would love to talk with you about I'll even talk with you about the existence of Moses. We have no evidence that Moses existed. And we have no evidence that Joseph existed. Like, we've got no evidence of these people existing. So hop on over, click the link, come on over, let's talk about it. And as a matter of fact, Rolly, can you go ahead and drop and try the link and go into the link and see if it works for you? Because now I am curious why we had it working, because I didn't even close it out or anything. So now I'm kind of like,
Sorry, Anji. I thought I was disconnecting myself.
just yeetin' Hanji.
Well, I thought it was me. Like, I wasn't paying attention.
There we go. I got revenge back. Duke White Jr., we are doing fantastic. So I'm not gonna lie, Duke White is probably one of my most favorite Christians to talk with. Just because Duke White is actually honest. Duke White is honest with what the text says. Duke White doesn't try to apologize the apologetics and the text. And from my understanding, Duke White is honest with his congregation when questions arise. All right, we're just gonna wait for hopefully Rolly to pop up over on Video Ninja.
She said, fuck this shit, I'm out.
New technology is always like, ugh. What I wish they would do. So YouTube would be phenomenal if YouTube would make it so you could bring up more than one guest, but YouTube only has it so you can bring up one other guest. They take up like half your screen. There we go. Let's go ahead and
When Rolly's done, Jordan does want to converse with you. He is a theist. I believe Christian. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan.
yeah, we can definitely do that. Can you hear me, Rolly? Let me try this too. This might have been a problem. Can you hear me, Rolly?
Yoli, Rolly, Yoli, give me the from Yoli.
See, it shows that Rolly's not muted, so Rolly should be able to hear me. You can't hear me. Huh. Let's check. Audio settings.
Maybe you need a mic, good sir.
Let's see. Is that better? Yeah, can you hear me now? Because I can hear you. And you can't hear me? No, it is. So what we'll try to do is we'll reload. Go to create. We'll just go with load previous session.
Rolly, Polly, Rolly, Polly, give me the Formioli. So I think your best bet is not Ninja, unless you have an actual microphone that you can connect
There's
headphones to.
I
no.
have headphones and like
So you
I didn't
couldn't
hear
hear me at
shit. I didn't
all?
even hear
You
him.
couldn't hear me at
Mm-mm.
all? Go
Cyber, do you
try it
have a
again.
microphone?
Go try it again. I reset the page. Go try it again. We'll see if it works this time.
I know this motherfucker did not ignore me. Cyber, do you have a microphone?
Yes, I have a microphone. It's plugged in.
It's plugged in. Do you have any headphones plugged into it? Bluetooth, you might actually have to get wired. Most of the people that use microphones with Video Ninja, they
Yeah.
have like a headset connected to the microphone. Maybe that could be.
We tested it earlier and it worked just fine with Joe.
That's weird. Because it
No,
sucks that we can't hear shit.
well, yeah, panel can never hear anything. I am so I'm streaming through OBS. So I am streaming through OBS. All right, let's try. We'll do okay, so we're going to hit here, enable, and solo talk. All right, can you hear me now? Okay, chat. Can you? So I just needed to refresh the page. So it looks like I'll just need to refresh the page. Chat and TikTok, put ones if you can hear Rolly. Rolly, can you say like a couple sentences? You can't be saying that stuff about Hanji. Just because Hanji can't hear you, Rolly, you're not allowed to say that. Well, here's the thing. I think Hanji, can you hear Rolly right now?
No.
Okay. So chat can hear, and YouTube cannot hear you though. Let me go check. So yeah, the video is there and it's streaming. Go ahead and talk real quick. Huh. So yeah, the audio is not, the audio for video
Tech
is
support.
not coming through, is not going through OBS.
I'm just enjoying my coconut water in peace.
So let's go with properties. Got
Delicious.
control audio via OBS. Let's see if there's properties here that we need to change here.
Haha.
Wait, say that.
I didn't say anything. I was just making noise.
All right, so Video Ninja, they're hearing you probably through TikTok, so I'll need to mess with Video Ninja a little bit more.
Cyber,
Unfortunately,
Cyber, can you hear
yeah,
me? Okay,
yeah,
Blake
I can
said
hear
you
you.
probably have to reconnect the audio source in OBS. They normally bug out when you exit the program.
This
Yeah,
Now
sounds
we
they
like
can
can.
hear you on YouTube.
a fucking mess.
Oh, you know what? I know what it is. I am dumb. I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just dumb. I have to remember because you have your own link. So we're gonna copy this to clipboard. We're gonna go to OBS. I'm an idiot. Because every guest gets their own link, and I just have to remember to repay. So we're gonna paste this in. We'll hit OK.
You have to set
Now
up a new link each and every time.
I just go copy it over. All right,
Oh.
now TikTok, can you hear Rolly?
Yes, Eddie, I am the voice of the Holy Spirit. Also, hello, Charlie. Or Charles,
I
or
faintly hear her.
Charlize. Well, it's because I'm on TikTok and I'm on Video Ninja.
Hello, Charlie's Talmud Factory. All right, so yes, I
I
am
can
getting.
hear.
Yep, on video I am getting feed.
Mhm.
Noble Boys, that's how you get a mute. Can we get ones over in YouTube chat if you can hear what sounds like Rolly stapling something?
I'm making something that you burn a little bit. You burn a little bit. So it's like, hey, there's a bush here. It's like, yeah. It allows us all to talk to God.
All right, they can hear you. All right, we got it. I got it figured out. I just need to quit being an idiot. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just hang up on Rolly now because that's enough chewing in my ear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Rolly
can hear
eating
you.
Cheetos.
All right, got that figured out. Yeah, it would be an echo. It would be an echo because Rolly was using two mics. She was still on YouTube or TikTok as well. So Eric, if you want to come on, click the link, go over to Video Ninja. You'll need to click the link down in the description. You can definitely come up and we can talk. I just got to remember to copy their link into OBS. Got to remember to click their link. But yeah, and who wanted to talk? Yeah, we don't blaspheme the Rolly Spirit. Go ahead and get Rolly back up here.
Hanji does. Hanji's rude like that.
Look, turns out
Quack.
yesterday I was mistaken about Zeus. Turns out it was Ares. Ares tripped over Rocky and went tumbling down Olympus.
Listen here.
Put that Christian
If
nonsense
you
on me.
if you know Ares, he trips over nothing. He just likes to fight.
maybe that's what happened. Maybe Doug threw Rocky. He landed on Olympus. The Greeks said nope, and Ares kicked Rocky, and then he landed on the road to Damascus. Maybe that's how that happened.
I mean, it makes sense
And
considering all the bloodshed that Christianity has been doing for I don't know how long.
yep. And Pax, thank you so much for the 4 month subscription over on TikTok. Everybody, let's put some massive W's in chat for Pax right now. I want to see at least 100 W's in both TikTok chat and YouTube chat for Pax.
That you said TikTok, hilarious.
Could have been a Tic Tac.
Tic tac toe, motherfucker.
I am also though because I can use OBS. So for those who aren't aware, where the cyber in the name comes from is I am a cyber goth. We've got the cyber wig. And I was initially going to be using that in my streams, but turns out that those ones are green, and when it comes to green screens and stuff, they're not too green screen friendly. But something that I cyber goth. So I may be
Think of like radioactive waste, and a lot of what dubstep wishes it could be.
dubstep wishes it could be. As a matter of fact, I can
And
let's
so
see
many
if I can
warning
find this.
sirens, like the sirens that you hear for like tornadoes and stuff, those are the sirens that are primarily used in the music.
Yes, it's like post-apocalyptic. Think raver goth, but it's like post-apocalyptic. Um, but I can show you. I think. Let's see if we go find.
It brings meaning to dystopian, but in a
Yes.
musical sense.
Um, I'm looking to see if my partner has any pictures of us posted.
Probably. Why don't you go look?
So
Yeah,
there's
so
none.
Charis, think of that siren sound and then like a beat drop after it. Like
All right, so this is my partner making sure there's uh no names in it.
yeah, we get the partner reveal.
We get a some of you've probably seen the partner, just aren't. Oh, not there we go.
Isn't that the
So
one you
there
went
we
to the
go.
concert with?
So yeah,
I
cybergoth.
fucking knew it. I knew you and her were together. We caught that shit. Me and Joe.
It's not like it was hidden.
Oh, it was hidden to someone. If you catch my drift. Right, Blake? It was obvious.
Yep. But yeah, so come on over, click the live, go ahead. If you're on YouTube, click the link. We have not had a single debate yet. We had what's his name come up and crash out and try to pull Divine or not divine, tried to pull up the criterion of embarrassment. And then as soon as we started naming off why a criterion of embarrassment doesn't work, he left. He yeeted himself right on out of the live. Jesus straight up said, why the fuck would you bring that up, you idiot? There's so many other things you could bring up. Talk about how all the Christians were persecuted and unalived for me. Bring that up. Bring something else up. Don't bring up the criterion of embarrassment. He's just going to dismiss that.
Dum 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 dum.
Yep. Olive, hop on up in the description. I see you down there talking. Hop on up. Let's talk about it.
I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty. Yeah.
See, in Duke White, I wouldn't say I have an argument against that. When you say like life itself is divine, I so when we talk about a deity, we're talking about like a mind that a formless mind that and from the Christian worldview would be that maintains the omni properties. Wait.
We were talking about, because even Blake saw it, like the way you were when you were posting the pictures, we were just like, aw, they fucking.
Aww. Olive just says, okay, bye with a kissy face. Olive is just yeeting themselves right out of YouTube chat. They don't want to talk either.
Kissy face better be for me.
Right. All right. Let's hurry up and get to, we have 28 people in here. Let's get up to 10K. We'll do one more restart.
He just wants one more.
I just want debates. I just want Christians to come up here and give me evidence. I want an argument for why.
You want to know what I want? I want a delicious honey. That's what I want. See? How about that?
Hold on. Your gods are coming back.
Both of you to assume they ever left.
This is fair. Yes. So it turns out I'm in this flame because turns out Jesus didn't like the way I was talking. So he put me in this eternal flame, and
It's your kink, Cyber. We know this.
it's not that bad, actually. It's not that bad. The downside to it is, here's the downside to being down here in the hellfire, is it doesn't tickle. The flame itself is actually like more of an aesthetic. It doesn't feel like anything, but the downside, yeah, it's like a dry sauna. But the issue is they got nos. We ain't got no monster up in here. It's nos. It could be worse. Which is why I don't want to go to heaven, because I have a feeling heaven's just going to be filled with Red Bull, and ain't nobody going to be blaspheming me with Red Bull. Yes, coffee is a lot better. I agree. Right, Foreign Warren? Can you see oxygen? No. Same as you can't see God. Yes, that is an argument that Christians try to use. Well, the amazing dinosaur, click the link down in the description. Click the link and we can definitely talk about it. I would love to talk with you about it, but you got to click the link and come on over. We'll talk about it. Wait, Duke. Is it the? Oh, the Red Bull. Duke, look. Here's the thing. Like our our Lord and Savior can't love you if you're drinking Red Bull. Like it's a known fact. Like, hold on, right? Just to prove the point, right? I've got a Holy Bible here, right? So we've got the Holy Bible, and we're going to open up. It's the hidden sixth book of the Torah. This is so hidden that most Jews don't even know we have a sixth book in the Torah. It's called Doesn't Existicus. And in Doesn't Existicus, chapter 3, verse 2, it clearly states, he who drinketh of the Red Bull shall be beat to unalivement with pool noodles. With pool noodles. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be unalived via pool noodle. That's like a horrible way to go out. You ain't never going to live that down. You're going to go to heaven and they're going to be like, how'd you die? And you're going to be like, pool noodle. I got beat to death with a pool noodle. Like, that's just something you don't live down. Like, you're going to show up. That's what I'm saying. It is going to take so long. It's going to take so long. And even in heaven, when you get to heaven, it comes time to praise God. You're going to be up there doing your worship of God, and all the other angels around you are going to be snickering because they knew that you were unalived by a frickin' pool noodle.
It was me.
It
I
was
was the
you.
one who delivered the pool noodle to the crevice of the cranium. And now they're here.
Oh, yeah, the amazing dinosaur. It's not going to be in your Bible. It's only going to be found in the extremely rare, caffeinated drink edition, and it's in the sixth book of the Torah. Doesn't Existicus. And yes, it is true. Jesus is a liar and a fraud. Jesus is 100% a liar and a fraud. All right, so I will say the green monster is not my favorite. My favorite one is like the European one. It has the lid on it that like spins and you can spin it to open and close it. It doesn't like come off. That's my favorite one. But it costs just as much as one of these, and these have more. Yes, I will crash the fuck out at over Red Bull all the time and every time. You want to get me crashing out hard? Be in a debate and throw in like premise 1 Red Bull, and you will watch me crash the fuck out. I won't let you come off mute until you acknowledge that premise 1 cannot go through. And I'm not even going to give you an argument for why premise 1 is wrong. You just have to accept premise 1 is wrong. Well, over on YouTube, you can't prove, there's no proof that Jesus died for anybody. You can't prove that he was there for us. I'm a mythicist. I don't even believe the historic Jesus existed. Like, the historical Jesus didn't even exist. But you can come over to the link, click the link in the description over on YouTube, and you can definitely come on over to Video Ninja, and we will definitely talk. We're almost to 10K. We're about probably to start a second one, and we're getting, let's see, the amazing, what was he saying? I am that great. I am here. I don't know what you're talking about. So if let me see if he's and Charlie's want to know what's funny. Whenever you talk with Christians and you mention the Tanakh and they're like, "Wait, what Tanakh? What's Tanakh?" And you're like, "It's the Hebrew Bible." And then they're like, "What's it mean?" And it's like, "Oh, it's Tanakh. It's an acronym. It stands for like all the parts of the Tanakh. It's 3 parts of it." And then they lose their mind over that as well. Yes, the Amazing Dinosaur. That would be correct. There is one true Bible that the prophets and apostles wrote. That would be the Tanakh, and the apostles, that would be like the prophets of the prophets. That'd be like their um scribes. But what is not part of that true book is the New Testament, because the historical Jesus never existed. But these Christians are sending, God is sending his strongest soldiers today. Um, I think Wes Huff is a fraud. I think Wes Huff is a grifter. I would love to debate Wes Huff. Wes Huff, as a matter of fact, you can go on TikTok and YouTube, and all you have to do is literally just look up Dan McClellan and Wes Huff, and just watch how Dan McClellan just clowns Wes Huff. Um, the issue with Wes Huff is that he's a lot of times he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's overly confident about what he's saying. He's so overly confident that he just says it, and then when he gets called out, he gives like half-assed apologies that aren't even like real apologies. And so really that's my issue with Wes Huff. He went as far as, oh, Wes Huff is the red. Yes, Wes Huff is the Red Bull of historians. So I am ethnically Jewish, religiously atheist. If Moshe was in here and heard me saying that, you'd see in the chat right now Moshe saying an atheist Jew. That is oh, I'm trying to remember the word. Oxymoron. He'd say that's an oxymoron. But yeah, so Wes Huff had the audacity on Joe Rogan to say that like the Great Isaiah scroll was word for word accurate, word for word, and he doubled down on it. But that's not true. In fact, we can show you one of the changes. I'll need to make a source for this real quick, but we can bring up the Great Isaiah scroll, and we can bring up where he got it wrong and why. Get this, see if I can find that here, right here. All right, so where he got it wrong, let's see if we can get this to fit to screen. All right, so this bottom part here, that's Septuagint, that's Greek. We don't need to worry about that. So let me get to where I can be seen here. We'll drop this down under my camera. So what you're going to see is here, this is Yod He Vav He, so this is Yahweh in Hebrew, and this is in the Masoretic text. So this is the current text that is used. So this is Yahweh, and this is just the Lord. So boom, we have a change there. Then you'll see here, and this is the same. This doesn't change. This doesn't change. This is the Great Isaiah scroll. We have a change here. We have a change here. And then right here, this is Emmanuel. So in the Masoretic text, it reads as Emmanuel. and then in the Isaiah scroll it reads as 1, right? So when he says like there's no differences, he is just wrong, absolutely wrong. Like there's huge changes. It is the Great Isaiah scroll. The Hebrew used in it is 95% accurate to the Masoretic text. That is correct, but it's not 100%. Yes, that's the guy that lies about his spinal meningitis. He is the guy who lies about his spinal meningitis. In fact, what it is that he got, he says it was a spinal neurological disorder, and he was told he would never walk again. He received a blessing, and then he was able to walk again, right? But what he doesn't tell you is that even though the neurological order, it affects people when they hit puberty, because your body goes through some like inflammation, stuff like that, and then when you come out of puberty, a lot of that calms down. Then all of a sudden they don't have pinched nerves anymore, and then they can walk again. Like, it's a common thing. It's not like this hidden thing. But Wes Huff likes to hide that, and he never talks about it. If you ask him, hey, go talk about this, he's like, dodges it and he runs away from it. But he uses that as his story. It's his miracle to grab you in, and then he just tells you lies. And just like Jake Litton said over on TikTok, even if the changes weren't huge, it's still God's perfect word, so it should have no damn mistakes. Absolutely. And I can understand, like, if we look at the Manual and we see different changes there, I can understand that being a scribal error. That being a scribal error is understandable. But no, there's far too many changes, and it's not word for word accurate. Wes Huff just lied, didn't know what he was talking about. And then when he tried to give an apology about it, because he got called out, when he tried to give an apology about it, it wasn't even an apology. It was, oh, that was my bad. I was actually studying another set of scrolls, and those scrolls were word for word accurate. So he apologized, but it wasn't an apology. He was just trying to like throw it over. Yeah, Wes Huff is bad faith. Wes Huff is just ridiculous. But I'd love to debate him. Well, and Tacitus over on YouTube, Tacitus doesn't even write about Jesus. And the part where he's writing about Pilate crucifying, that's an interpolation. It was probably oh crap, the church father's name slipping my mind. Tertullian. It was probably Tertullian. Tertullian was the church father who pointed it out. Tertullian was the first church father to use Latin. And so yeah, Tacitus was probably an interpolation from Tertullian. And in that manuscript, we can see where there was a change done to it. That one we can bring up as well. We can bring up Tacitus's interpolation. We're going to replace this Great Isaiah scroll with Tacitus. So what we're going to see here with Tacitus, and the reason why we know that there was an interpolation, is right here. So right here in this red box, you'll see right here there's a space that shouldn't be here. As you can see, anytime we see this E, so we'll see it here in this green, we'll see it here, you see it here. There's never a big space, so we have a big gap here. Second is, we're going to have to zoom in for this. Second thing is, you'll see here this line that comes like this. We have this line right here. That's an erasure mark, right? if we zoom out on this scroll, you'll notice that we don't see that anywhere else on the scroll. And in fact, if you go look at the main page, because you can find this page, the whole picture of it, you won't see this line. It's not there. It's just not there. Now, the third thing is this letter here in the blue. This is the RI in Latin. This is what the RI combination in Latin looks like. This should be here, but it's not. So we have an erasure mark. We have a clear addition. This letter here is darker than the rest of the letters in the word. So this is an interpolation. What this originally said, and it lines up with what Suetonius said, was Christians. This originally said Christians. Somebody changed it to say Christian, to say Christioni. But again, they didn't put this letter in here. So, and the reason why this lines up with Suetonius is Tacitus is writing about how the Christians were essentially a little terrorist group. He's calling them out for being a little T group. And they're doing abominable things. And then Suetonius writes a few years later how there was a group of Jews that were being expelled from Rome. They're being kicked out of Rome, and they were for doing horrible things. Again, these group of Jews were little T groups, and they were being instigated by a man named Chrestus. And when Suetonius writes about him, he writes about Chrestus as if Chrestus is on the ground directing them what to do, like he's the commander. And so yeah, are we getting a Joel Reads Bible raid? Joel Reads Bible. If Joel is coming in here, I appreciate that. Welcome in, Raiders, if you are coming in. So that is an interpolation. It's covered up with Suetonius. He agrees with it. But the third damning thing is Pliny the Younger. Pliny the Younger in 111, he was the lawyer in Rome. He was a senator. He actually served with Tacitus as a senator. He served as a lawyer, the lawyer. I think I mentioned that already. And he served under 3 emperors. And he comes, and at the time of his writing to Pliny in 111, we got a guest coming up.
Stevie, what is your age?
I'm 37, mate.
Okay. Are you a Christian, ma'am?
I'm not. No.
Okay, thank you, miss.
I'm mostly
Goodbye.
versed.
Oh, I think before we kick them, when we find out they're not a Christian, find out if they follow the teachings of Christ. Because a lot of people will say, I'm not a Christian. Let's see if they at least are Sadakmak before we kick them, so we can still get a debate going on. But if you are a follower of Christ, though, hop on up.
Thank you, Joel, for the raid.
Yeah, and everybody that's been in here, if you're not already following Joel, if Joel makes it in here, give Joel a follow. Can you bring that guest, whoever, oh, there we go.
I brought him.
Do you simp for Jesus, Stevie?
Say again. Sorry, I
Are you
missed
the
that.
follower of Jesus?
Not particularly. I'm learning.
And that is why he got kicked the first time.
That is, like, don't come up unless you're a Christian. If you're a Christian or a follower of Jesus, that's all we're wanting to talk about. It's literally all we're wanting to talk about. But what we see is that Pliny is writing to the Emperor Trajan, and while he's writing to Emperor Trajan, he's saying, hey, I don't know who these Christians are. I've never dealt with Christians before, which is problematic because he was a senator and a lawyer, and he was alive. He might have been young, but he was alive during the fires in Rome that the Christians were blamed on. And these fires in Rome are like supposedly the catalyst for like Christian persecution. Gonna go ahead and bring this guest up.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, Andrew, what's your age?
I'm 18.
Okay, are you a Christian?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Christianity is false. Why isn't it?
Well, the fact that Christianity is mostly a religion of peace and love, and also the fact that God Himself came down on earth to die for our sins, something that we did.
Your
You
sins.
see what I mean? Our
Yeah,
sins,
can
yes.
you can you prove that Jesus came down on earth? Do you have proof of that?
Yeah, the many eyewitnesses that saw Him, and the Pharisees that didn't believe in Him and then believed in Him, right
Yeah,
as He was getting
can you
crucified.
name one? Can you name one?
Yeah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Peter, Andrew, Simon, yeah, all the disciples that saw Him. What's his name? Zebedee.
Yeah, do we have
Mary
their
Magdalene.
writings? Outside of the Gospels, do we have their writings?
Yeah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are historical events. They're not just a part of the Bible. They're also historical events that was
So
written by people
so
who
hold on. Let's settle that. Let's settle with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I think this is important, right? So did Mark see Jesus?
Yes, he was one of those disciples.
Mark's not a disciple.
I thought you said Matthew, Mark. Yeah, no, Mark isn't.
Okay, did Luke see Jesus?
I believe he did. I can't remember what the disciples were exactly, but I believe he did. Yeah.
Luke's not a disciple. You know that, right?
Yeah. No, I know that, but
So Luke and Mark did not see Jesus. Next question is, are you able to show me where we know for a fact that Matthew and John wrote Matthew and John?
how do you like what they
Yeah,
wrote it?
Yeah, can you show
They
me?
saw it in front of them.
Yeah, can you show
you wanna-
me?
Go.
Yeah, can you show me when did the Gospels get? Do you know when the Gospels got their name?
When the Gospels got their name.
Mm-hmm. Because you know they were written anonymously, right?
No.
They got their names from Irenaeus, roughly between 160 and 185, probably closer to 185, but the names did not appear in text until after 200. Because they were written anonymously.
They're written sometime in the 2nd century. So a couple of decades after, they weren't written by the authors themselves. Yeah.
Wait, are you saying? Do you know when did the 2nd century start?
What do you mean? When did it start?
Yeah, you mentioned that they were written in the 2nd century, which I agree with, but I don't think you know what the 2nd century is. So I'm just double checking.
Hold on. 101 AD.
Yeah, 100. Good job. You do know, right? So I'm glad you do know 101 is the 2nd century. Yeah. So if they were written in the 2nd century, how did Matthew write them? How did John write them if they were already dead?
Hold on.
You cooked yourself, my dude. You just cooked yourself.
No, hold on. Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
I mean, you can retract it if you want, but you did say that.
Okay, so
Matthew...
they died 90. They passed away in 98 AD, right? So that was before.
And how did Matthew die? Just out of curiosity, how did Matthew die?
I'm pretty sure one of them. No, that was Peter. Never mind. I was gonna say one of them got crucified, but on the shape of a cross.
Yeah, that was Peter. Peter was supposedly crucified upside down. Do you accept the apocryphal works?
What's that?
The apocryphal works, like, so there is the Gospel of Peter, right? But it's not in the Bible. It's
Mm-hmm.
not part of the Bible. So do you accept the Gospel of Peter, even though it's considered apocryphal? Meaning it's not
Yeah.
canon.
It was. I'm confused by your question. I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah. Do you know what an apocryphal text is?
No, I don't know. Let me see what it means.
Yeah. So there were over 40 Gospels written. Over 40 Gospels that were written. Only 4 of them made it into the book. Right. In fact, we'll go read one of these Gospels right now. Have you ever heard the infancy Gospel of Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you accept the infancy Gospel of Thomas to be an actual gospel, or do you think it's fake?
I believe it's real.
Oh, and you believe Jesus is innocent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
God
right.
didn't do anything wrong. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't think you are going to like
Okay.
this,
How
but
about this?
we'll.
What about the people who literally who got healed themselves by Jesus?
Yeah, where's their
They
writings? Did they write about this, or did the gospel say they were healed?
Oh, the gospel said that. But again, the gospel were all historical events written by people.
They're not. They're written by anonymous authors who wrote in the 2nd century for things in the
Mm-hmm.
past. It's mythology. This is how mythology starts, right? So, for example, let's take the Sermon on the Mount. What was the great miracle at the Sermon on the Mount? What was the great miracle that Jesus performed?
I can't remember.
How many people did Jesus feed, and what did he feed them with?
Yeah, okay, yeah. It was the 5 loaves and 2 fish. That's what it was.
Yeah, right? Now, if I was to feed 5,000 people
Mm-hmm.
from 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to feed 5,000 people, right? Am I going to, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm there and I see that. Am I keeping that to myself?
What, the food?
No, the story. Am I
No,
keeping that
obviously
to
you're gonna share it.
myself? I'm going to
You're gonna
tell
share
other
it.
people about it, right? Yeah, I'm going to share the story, right? So I'm going to share
Mm-hmm.
it with a bunch of people. And those people, like, let's say I tell Rolly, hey, I just saw this great miracle. And I tell Honda, I tell both of them, right? Now, if Rolly
Mm-hmm.
believes me, Rolly's going to write about it and say, my good friend Cyber saw this amazing miracle and is going to share it. And then Hanji, if Hanji does not believe me, Hanji is going to say, my wackadoodle friend Cyber saw this miracle. And they're going to tell other people, right? So the writings for this should be so what I'm saying is we get secondary sources that start to grow, and we should be able to find writings of these miracles. We should be able to find some kind of writings or evidence of these, but we don't. Nobody writes about it. We haven't found any writing for it outside of the Gospels. So that's a problem. It's a problem that nobody wrote about it, right? It's a problem when it comes to the apostles that the only writings we have about their deaths are from Christian literature. We don't have any writings about them in outside sources. There's not a single non-Christian document that talks about their deaths. In fact, Peter being crucified upside down comes from the Gospel of Peter, which is an apocryphal text. The Catholic and the Orthodox and the church doesn't even consider it a real book. They consider it fake.
Okay, let's say about the disabled man, right? You know, remember the disabled man at
Mm-hmm.
the pool where
Yeah.
the angel would stir it up? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jesus walked up to him, right? The disciples asked him, uh, did this man, like, the reason why he's paralyzed is because he sinned? It was his parents. He said no, but for the works of God to be shown through him, right? He asked him, "Do you want to be healed?" He got up, all that. The Pharisees, who did not, because he thought that he was a heresy. Sorry, my fault. The Pharisees that said to Jesus that he's doing heresies, right? Who didn't like him.
Why was he doing a heresy? What did he do that was a heresy?
Well, he claimed to be God, and which he is.
Well, he's not.
And
You have yet to prove that. But again, what you're doing is you're providing evidence from a book that is in the Gospels. And again, we've already talked about the stories of the Gospels were written anonymously. You still have yet to prove that those were written by an eyewitness account. I've been waiting for you to show me that those were an eyewitness account.
Okay, so the paralyzed man is in Matthew 9, 1, 8. And Luke 5:17 through 26.
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, but you have to show me that hold on. You have to show me that Matthew was an eyewitness. Can you show me that Matthew was an eyewitness?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Because yes, Matthew was an apostle. He was, but you need to show me that the book of Matthew was in fact written by Matthew. What's the evidence of that? Right?
Yeah,
if you
he
can't,
was there.
Yeah, prove it.
He was there. He witnessed it.
Yeah, prove it.
What do you mean prove it? He wrote it. He saw it.
Can you show me anywhere in the book of Matthew where Matthew identifies himself as the author?
He doesn't have to. It's obvious. It's named by his name, Mark.
Hold on. When did the name Matthew, again, we discussed this already, when did it first appear as titled as Matthew? When was that?
You said, I think 2nd century?
3rd century. It was the 3rd century. It wasn't until after 200.
Mm-hmm.
So, when did Jesus pass away?
I'm not sure the exact date, to be honest.
Around 30. Jesus passed away around 30.
Oh, at the age or like the year?
The year was around 30. 30 CE. Mm-hmm. But let's go to something. So here's something that I'm curious. So you believe Matthew was an eyewitness, and you're talking about Luke. We're going to bring up a contradiction that are actually 10 years apart. These stories are both in the Bible. It's telling the exact same story. However, the issue is that the characters in the story, what's going on is 10 years apart. So, who was the king of Judea in Matthew? Do you not know your Bible?
I don't memorize all this.
Oh, well, you should. If you're gonna come up here and try to argue for Jesus, you should.
Oh yeah, it was Harold. Because it's obvious. You've had plenty of people see him do things in front of.
And we have none of their writings. No. What we have are 4 books. We have 4 books that were anonymously written that claim all these people saw these miracles, but none of these people wrote anything down. We have no writings about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would expect, right? We would expect that if these great miracles were performed, we would see evidence of it, but we don't. As a matter of fact, one of these miracles, we'll just go talk about one of these miracles right now. Do you know what happened when Jesus resurrected? Do you know what happened around Jerusalem?
I'm not sure, but I know that once he resurrected, he went and ascended to heaven, sat at the right hand of his Father, just like it's written.
Well, that's not what that's not what I asked. What happened in Matthew 27?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Because this is a great miracle that everybody would have wrote about because this affected everybody.
Judas hangs himself.
Wait, what?
Judas talks about Judas.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about the end of it. It's at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so since you said that the people back then, right, they don't have evidence. We don't have evidence of that they didn't write it down, that they saw what happened, right?
Wait, say what?
I said since you said the people that saw Christ back then and all that don't have writings down of what they saw,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
What
we
about
would
the
expect.
people? Go ahead.
What about what people?
I said, what about the people this year, in this century, in this generation, that witnessed Christ right in front of them, and him talking
They
to them and saying, "I am
don't.
the
They
Christ."
don't. They have Stockholm syndrome, and they don't.
They all have some type of disorder.
Yeah, they don't. Well, here's my question, right? So
Hmm?
there's a person in chat with you right now. She's 2 people below you. She's hiding in a teacup right now. What if I was to
Hmm?
tell you that not only has she, but plenty of other people have had experiences with other gods? Are you going to
Are
accept
they?
that?
First of all, I wasn't hiding, bitch.
So Hanji here worships
Hmm.
the Greek and Egyptian gods and
Hmm.
goddesses. So, and Hanji, have you not had experiences involving those deities?
Absolutely.
So she's had these experiences. Are you going to accept her experiences with these deities?
No, because there's no evidence that these gods are actually alive.
Wait, you're not going to accept her word? Why don't you accept her word?
Because the God that she prays to is not alive. Again, there's no proof of it. That there's never been like many people who've seen him or her or whatever.
Wait, yeah, they
This is
have.
actually
Have
a
you?
reason why temples and statues exist in my country. Have you not
Yeah, they
been to
have
Greece?
Yeah, they have temples. There's statues all over Asia Minor, going all the
Hmm.
way from the most southern tip of Greece all the way up into Turkey. Like there are Greek temples all over the place. And in fact, have you not ever been in a thunderstorm? Every time there's a thunderstorm and lightning, you literally see the power of Zeus.
He's always
Yep.
angry. No, not always.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if your gods are true, why do they need all separate ones to have separate powers? Why can't just one of them have everything? Why does there need to be like 15 different
Well,
gods that
that's
have
that's
one?
not the argument.
Because
Hold on. Hold on, Hanji. That's a pivot from the argument. I'm not going to let him pivot from the argument. So the point is that your argument is that I need to take people's testimonies when they say they see God, but you are not willing to accept the same evidence for other deities, right? So that means there's a flaw in your logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't
So
use that
so
argument because it's a flaw in your logic.
okay, so what about the Muslims, right? Who converted over, and they don't believe that Christ is God completely, and they witness him. Are they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, I witnessed him for no reason. I just witnessed him, you
Do you
know.
know that
I just want to
Islam
trick
is a branch?
Christians.
Hold on. You know that Islam is a branch of is branched off of Christianity, and that in Islam they believe Jesus existed and they accept Jesus as a prophet. In fact, if you've read the Quran, you would know that in Islam they believe that Jesus is going to have a part in the final judgment. You're aware of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's because Islam is quite literally like an offshoot of Christianity. You're aware of that, right?
Yep.
So it would just go to follow that they would have some Christian values, and it's not hard for them to leap from Islam to Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if God isn't real, right? Then how would the
Well,
earth be
no, quit
created? It
pivoting.
just
The
God
question,
created on top.
hold on, stop. The question was, right?
Mhm.
Why should I accept these people's testimonies that they saw Jesus when you won't accept Hanji's testimony? About her
I don't know how to
deities.
answer you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a flaw in your logic. If you are going to make an argument on why I should accept your God, right, then you need to also accept that same argument for other people's gods, right? But I'm going to show you a story real quick. So this is going to be found in Matthew. It's going to be, let's get this brought up. And essentially what happens here is, I'm going to need to get this window captured. So what happens here is we're going to go to verse 52. So it says, so this is after Jesus is resurrected, and it says, at that moment, but others said, well, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook and rocks were split. The tombs were also opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised, meaning that the tombs opened up and people were resurrected and walking around. After his resurrection, they came out of the tombs and entered the holy city and appeared to many. Right now, my question is, if you saw somebody that had passed away, right, they'd been gone for years, and you see them walking around, are you going to write about that?
Of course.
Yeah, and the issue is all these miracles, all of them, know how many writings we have of them? Know how many writings we found of them?
Yeah, just like I said,
None. Zero. We
what's it
haven't
called?
found any.
Still, again, after I just told you the paralyzed man was in Matthew, and you still continue to say that it isn't a historical event. Just
Yeah,
because
it's
it was
not
in
a
the Bible
historical
doesn't mean
event.
it's not a historical event. Yeah, it is.
Correct, because
What proves it is not?
hold on. You have to still establish that Matthew actually wrote it, that the story actually happened. So now we'll go back to where we were going to go. I'm going to give you two stories here. They're the same story. So in Matthew chapter 2, King Herod the Great was the king. Do you know when Herod the Great passed away?
I'm not sure, no.
He passed away in 4 BCE. So 4 BC, in case you're not familiar with BCE, he passed away in 4 BC. Now, when we go to Luke chapter 2, we're going to have this person pop up named Quirinius. So you'll see him highlighted here in green. His name's Quirinius, and this is Luke chapter 2. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. Now, do you know when Quirinius was governor of Syria? Do you know when that was?
No clue.
It was estimated 5 to 6 BCE. No earlier than 5, but it didn't start no later than 6. So 5 or 6 BCE. Now, CE, not BCE, CE. Now, the issue with it is this census is the whole reason why they were going to Bethlehem, was because of this census. Now, what is the time gap between 4 BCE and 10 or 6 CE? So 4 BCE to 6 CE. What's the time gap there? You there?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you know the time gap?
Sorry, repeat the question. You're cut
Yeah,
off.
so Herod died in 4 BCE, meaning Jesus could have been born, according to Matthew, no later than 4 BCE, right? However, down the road a number of years, Quirinius was the governor of Syria in 6 CE, and his governorship is the whole reason why they were taking the census, but that was in 6 CE. There's a 10-year gap between the same story being told. So can you, if these are historical records, why is there a 10-year gap for Jesus's birth between the two stories?
Not sure.
So if we find that there's a 10-year gap, right, somebody's not telling the truth, correct?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what else Herod's story tells? Know what else Herod's
Mm-hmm.
story talks about? So what did Herod do? The Magi came and they went a different way. What did Herod do? What did he order to happen?
The killing of all, I think it was Jewish children, I believe.
Yeah, massacre of
Right?
all the
Yeah.
infants, right? Now, do you think this massacre was within Herod's authority? Do you think Herod was allowed to do this?
I mean, he was a high rank, so yeah, he had authority.
No, he was under Rome. He wasn't allowed to do this. This was not something within his authority to do. And for something like this to happen, we would definitely have writings about it. Do you know how many stories, know how many manuscripts, know how many stories we have outside of Matthew, any manuscripts of Matthew? Do you know how many recordings we have of anybody's child being unalived by Herod's soldiers due to a decree that Herod made?
I'm not sure, but it's probably written
None.
in the
There's
Bible.
none. Right, there's none, and that's problematic. So what I'm saying is that the Bible, the Gospels, there's no evidence for these events happening. None. It's bunk. It's a lie.
Okay, yeah. So again, so it is in the Gospel of Matthew, Matthew 2:6. There is the massacre of innocents.
Yeah, it's
Where
in the
Herod.
Gospels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you find any extra biblical script that says that Herod was allowed to do it? Do you see any? Can you find me any manuscripts that talk about it outside of Matthew?
Okay, but what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Yeah, because again, like I said, the reasoning why we know that the Gospels aren't true is because there's no extra biblical writings about the miracles being performed. None. There's no proof that Herod ever ordered these children to be executed. In fact, Josephus, the historian Josephus, hated Herod. He hated the Herods, and he would write, if every time Herod took a funny looking shit, he would write that down in his writings. And this was something, if this had ever truly occurred, Josephus definitely would have wrote about this. And nobody, no historians, even those that didn't like Herod, nobody writes about this massacre of children. It's not written anywhere. It's not a historical event. It's not an event that actually happened. Whoever wrote Matthew lied.
Okay. So Josephus, I don't know how you pronounce it. Josephus, right? That guy that you
Josephus,
said.
yep.
He lived in first century, correct?
Yep.
Right. So, and this is a non-biblical source.
Yep,
The
and here
Bible,
comes the
right?
interpolation. Yep, you're going to talk about the testimonium of Flavianum?
No. It just says that he mentions Jesus in his writings, so that's.
Oh yeah, we'll go talk about that. I'll get that brought up. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so we'll get that brought up.
There was also a Roman historian who mentioned Jesus and his crucifixion, so he saw him.
Tacitus
on the front
or what?
Tacitus.
Oh yeah,
Tacitus.
that's Tacitus. I'm glad you brought this up. Let's talk about Tacitus first, because that's going to be the I can knock out 3 historians with Tacitus. So let's talk about Tacitus first. So, oops. You know what? I have the testimonium brought up. We'll talk about the so this is the testimonium first. So essentially this is a testimonium. This is Josephus. In the testimonium, there's 3 paragraphs I have highlighted. The first paragraph and the third paragraph flow together. Essentially, in the first paragraph, Josephus is talking about that they were using money from the temple to bring water into Jerusalem. The Jews got mad. They started a riot, and Pilate got tired of being attacked. So he told his soldiers to dress up as civilians, hide daggers in their cloaks. And when he went out, if the Jews started to attack him, he was going to give a signal, and the soldiers were to attack the people that were doing the riots. And then it goes on to say how the soldiers took it a step further, and they started unaliving anybody that was present. And then this paragraph here that's circled in red, that is what's called an interpolation. An interpolation is something that is added by somebody else, because again, manuscripts, the only way to get copies of manuscripts was you had to handwrite them. So it was really easy to add your own words to it, right? So this in the red box is called the Testimonium Flavianum. It was added by Eusebius, and essentially you have this thing here where Pontius Pilate and the soldiers are just massacring these Jews. And then this talks about, and there was Jesus, if it be fair to call him such, right? This lovely paragraph about Jesus. It's just glazing Jesus. It uses words that Josephus never uses. None of that. In fact, again, when we use stilometry, we know that this was Eusebius. And then this paragraph right here in the blue, it starts with, and another sad calamity befell the Jews. So the first and third paragraph, they line up nicely. The red paragraph is 100% out of place. We'll go find the, I'll go bring up the other Josephus, because I think that one is important too, since we are here. I'll just get this brought up really quick.
He said he left on accident.
Oh, you can bring him back up.
Also, small announcement before you get into the cyber. All right. So, as people have noticed, they were getting muted during the live stream. Fair warning, it was not me. But I know you guys don't seem to understand, but when it comes to the fire alarm situation, the jokes, they get played out. It might be funny to you, but there is a demographic that is mainly targeted due to low battery life in their fire alarm system. That does not take away their intelligence. That does not take away their understanding. That does not take away their humanity. So we need you guys to deconstruct that thought process, thinking that it's funny or that people are illegitimate because they cannot change their battery. We do not know people's living conditions. We do not know people's alarm systems. As a matter of fact, I even got blight of those jokes. And guess what? I cannot change my alarm system unless I call the company that works with my security system to come and do it. And that's not a cheap fix either. So please take that into consideration before attacking someone off of a fire alarm.
Yes. Thank you, Hanji. I didn't see that because I'm focusing on this. But yes, realize that sometimes we'll do microaggressions and we may not realize that we're microaggressing. And it is the case when it does come to stuff like that. Those are microaggressions. So just be careful with those. And I accidentally put this in my flame, so we gotta go with properties.
Andrew, you're more than welcome to request back up. We cannot bring you up. For some reason, either you're a private account or TikTok hits you with something. You sent the request, Cyber. Do you see him in request box?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully it lets me.
You have to bring him up, darling. We can't do it.
No. I'm trying. So when I am on OBS, my manage. Oh, there we go. My managed guest runs slow. Like if I'm not on OBS, it clicks just fine. I think I need to just update the RAM on my laptop. There we go. Oh, damn it. Oh, and it's giving me the puzzle. Hold on. Gotta refresh this puzzle. Soon as I can save up for a desktop, I will definitely be getting a desktop. Because this laptop situation is kind of ridiculous. There we go. He should be coming up now.
Alright, there it is. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotta try to get this puzzle piece, because it gives me like 4 minutes. And you know what? We'll just pop over here real quick. So, the testimonium, we'll get that brought up. So it's right here. And come on, refresh. Give me the puzzle piece so we can drag that thing over. There we go. Go right. There we go. Verification complete. All right, good. All right, so right here is the testimonium, and what you will see with it is it says, so what's going on here is this James over here was executed, and whoever's this writing is about how they're not happy with it. So it mentions, so he assembled the Sanhedrin of judges and brought before them the brother of Jesus, who is called Christ, whose name was James. Right? So the brother of Jesus, his name was James. So the topic of this is James. Now, where people get hung up is we get Jesus and Christ. Now, do you know what Christ means? What does Christ interpret as? What's it mean? It means anointed, right? So all this means is anointed. It's the Greek
Messiah.
version of Mashiach.
Or Messiah,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. So it means anointed. Now we have Jesus, who is called Christ. So this is somebody that's anointed. But when we come down here, you're going to learn.
Sorry. So let me just say something to Malish. Bro, it's not that deep about the batteries, bro. Like, it really is not that deep. It's just batteries. Alright, go on.
Yeah.
No, I literally, I'm just like, did you not hear what I said? Like,
Yeah, no, I heard you. It's not that deep. Like,
no, not you, the person in chat, but yeah.
yeah, no, I know. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Cyber.
Yeah. So when we read this, you're going to learn that Jesus, who is called Christ is just means anointed. But when we come down here, we're going to, because in this, Jesus is not the subject. The subject is James. So there's briefly mentioning Jesus, who is called Christ. Now, in Judaism, what are the two people groups that are anointed? Do you know the two people groups that are anointed?
Not sure enough.
It's kings, so kings are anointed, and priests, Levitical priests, are anointed. Specifically, the high priest is anointed. So whenever they're referring to like the anointed, it's a reference to the high priest. And we get this down here when it says, and made Jesus, the son of Damnius, high priest. But you know, and I know, that Jesus, the biblical Jesus, the Messiah, the Savior of the world, was not the son of Damnius. Damnius does not appear anywhere in Matthew or Luke as Jesus's father. So this is just talking about Jesus, the high priest. High priest is analogous to Christ. So it's not talking about... Go ahead.
You said this one doesn't talk about Jesus at all?
It's not talking about Jesus Christ. It's talking about Jesus, the son of Damnius. who was the high priest. He was replacing Damnius as the high priest. Or he was, sorry, let me rephrase that. He was the son of Damnius. And it states that in there. It states that he was the son of Damnius.
Okay. What about the like in Jerusalem? Or sorry, not in Jerusalem. It says in Germany. There's also one in France. His garments is
The Shroud of Turin?
like yeah.
Yeah.
So there was one during the crucifixion whenever they had Jesus with the cross headed to Golgotha, the place of skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lady came up to him with a towel and placed it on his face, and that towel is still, I believe, in Jerusalem. Let me see.
Oh, no. You
With
don't want to
the
go with
exact same
the
prints of his
sweat.
face. It
Yeah,
wasn't sweat. It was
no,
still
it's yeah.
blood that covered.
We'll look that up before that's proven false. We'll go look at that. So what he's talking about is not the Shroud of Turin. It's not the Shroud of Turin. It is a cloth that while Jesus was walking, he was sweating, and he's carrying the cross and he's sweating, and so she goes and wipes his face with the cloth, just wipes it, and the sweat formed into his face. So So we'll talk about that. Do you know when most of these artifacts pop up? It's called the Veil of Veronica. And do you know when the most of these pop up in history?
Around maybe like 96 AD, I believe.
So the first time the Veil of Veronica appeared, let's look this up. The first time it appeared, most of them are in the Middle Ages. Veil of Veronica. First appearance. So the Veil of Veronica, the first time it appeared was in the 14th century.
That
Right?
is not that long ago. I mean, it's long
No.
ago, but it's not that long ago.
Mhm.
Okay, so what about the human DNA that was found on the shroud itself?
The Shroud of Turin?
Mm-hmm. Does
Yeah,
that not
so
prove
that was
anything?
no. In fact. So the Shroud of Turin was found in 1350 in France in an abbey, and it actually been on display at the abbey for a number of years, being like, this is the cloth that Jesus was wrapped in. And so in the 1980s, they did a carbon dating on it, and it turned out to be right around the 1300s. That's where it's from. And then back in 2014, they're doing the test that you were suggesting. They did a DNA test, and it never got picked up. It was never published in any journals. In fact, the people who did the study, they themselves had to redact it, because when people got looking at their study, the study said, hey, the scientific method that you use to draw this conclusion, it turns out it doesn't check out. It's not okay. It doesn't check out. It's problematic. And so they themselves redacted it. Well, in 2022, there was another study done on the Shroud of Turin by two of the same scientists that did the blood study. Two of those scientists, if you can call them scientists, they did another study, but what this study was doing was it was going to use x-rays and check the Shroud of Turin. And this study found that there's no blood on it. This study says no blood on it. It's that, I can't remember what the term is, but essentially when Jesus was being resurrected, it doesn't have first century pollen in it. There's no first century pollen in it. And while he was laying down, essentially x-rays shot out of his body as he was being resurrected, and that is what put the imprint on it. But the issue with that study is one, it comes from two scientists who already had to redact a statement, and you will learn, yeah, scientists, if it be lawful to call them that. Washman, I am going to steal that from you. I'm going to send that to Jaren, and we're stealing that from you anytime anybody brings up the Shroud of Turin with Josephus. But any scientists, and I think we have some in here. I know we got Shadow in here, who's a scientist. And I'm trying to see if we have any other scientists that are in here. But you will learn that if a scientist ever has to redact a study, that is a tarnish on their record forever, especially if it is redacted because they did not do sound science on it. The scientific method wasn't sound on it. And there you go. Preston is a published mathematician. So that gets you. So that's pretty damning. But the issue with the second study is that it states that they had to estimate the temperatures. The study can only, and the study's not even peer reviewed. This was the study that they were doing to try to get it peer reviewed. They're trying to say, hey, we found a new method to date items. This is how we do it. And they're using the Shroud of Turin as like its test study. But the issue is that the test, according to the study itself, states that the items that they are testing must be kept in a temperature and humidity controlled environment, which the Shroud of Turin was not. The Shroud of Turin, if it is real, went from Judea all the way up to France, and it survived 3 or 4 fires. So it had smoke damage, all sorts of other things. And so they just had to throw it. They just threw in a number. And so the Shroud of Turin, unfortunately, it's a fraud. And yeah, read what Preston is saying. It is incredibly embarrassing to have to retract a publication. It shows dishonesty or gross negligence. So yeah, the Shroud of Turin, it's just, yeah, the Shroud of Turin, unfortunately, it's not a piece of evidence either. You'll also run into, just to kind of nip this now, you're going to run into a man named Ron Wyatt. Ron Wyatt supposedly found the Ark. He found blood on Golgotha. He found the chariot wheels from the Exodus. Like, he found all these artifacts. And they're not real
within
either.
2 weeks.
Yeah, within 2 weeks.
They're not real, yeah.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
real.
Everything that was found just apparently isn't real, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so the wagon wheels he found, it's actually called tabletop coral. They're found all over the world. It's tabletop coral. They just happen to mimic chariot wheels, but they're found all over the world. When they looked at where the Ark was, when they tested it, it turned out to be limite. Limite is, so biological material never petrifies into limite. So it's not the Ark. The blood of Christ, if you ever get a chance to go look at the video where Ron White is doing that, he literally like reaches down, grabs a handful of it with his hands, and then puts it in a bag. Right? Like the way he collected
No gloves,
it is just,
no safety precautions, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. So and Ron Wyatt, when it came to the who tested the blood, he never gave a location. He never said, "Oh, here's where I sent it to." Nobody has come forward and been like, "Yeah, we're the ones who tested it." He just made a claim, and Christians just ran with it.
And the whole Ark thing is just a natural rock formation on Turkey. There's no wood around the area or anything to solidify the evidence and claim that it was an Ark. And this man wasn't even an archaeologist. Like, he was not
an
in this field.
anesthesiologist. And
yeah,
while
he worked
we're
with
talking,
teeth.
Yep. And while we are talking about rocks real quick, we're going to do a shameless plug here. So this is Rocky and Sharon Stone's son. This is Doug and Sharon Stone's son. This is Rocky. This is the rock that Doug threw. This is the rock that Doug departed his gospel onto. This is the very rock that Paul fell onto and got concussed.
And like Everlasting said in chat, also his son confessed to the fraudulence after Ron's passing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like a lot of these artifacts, turns out they're just not what you think they are. And while we're
Hmm.
waiting for him to look, keep tapping that screen, sharing the live. I do have the goat as the gift goal. It is only 1 coin. If we can knock that out. Also, I would like to see our likes get up. We're at 21K now. Let's get that up to 50K. There's 63 of us in here on TikTok. There's 158 of you over on YouTube. I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you. Even those that disagree with me, I appreciate you as well. Also, I do have my subscriptions up. I'm looking to get up to 70 subbies. So if you get up to 70 subbies, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you do enjoy debates, and you're on TikTok, hop over to YouTube. My link is in my link tree. Go give me a subscription on YouTube. I am trying to reach my, I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscriptions over there. I'm also hoping to get my watch hours up over there as well. Once I hit 3,000 watch hours, I'll be able to accept super chats.
All right. So what about King Constantine? You know who King Constantine is, right?
Yeah, I know who Emperor Constantine is.
And his mother,
Mm-hmm.
Queen Helen.
Yep.
Right. Now, Queen Helen was trying to look for the cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually she found it, but she found three. She didn't know which one exactly was Jesus's cross that he was crucified on. So what happened? A funeral was passing by, and they took the dead body and they put it on the cross, and he rose from the dead.
Now
Are you going to tell me that one
hold
is
on.
false as well?
So what year did this happen in?
This was 360, around 362 AD.
Yeah. And who was put on the cross and rose from the dead?
It was we don't know the name exactly, but it was like a random funeral that was passing by, and so they put the body on each cross, and the dead body rose up whenever they put it on Jesus' cross.
And so the question is, right, what
Hmm.
evidence is there that this rising actually happened?
The fact that the people saw him rise up, or her, I
Yeah,
wasn't sure if it's
where's
a
the
girl or
hold on,
boy.
where are their so the question then is, where are their writings that they saw him rise? Because again, so here's the way evidence works. The way evidence works is, if I go and I tell you last night I heard an airplane flying over my house, I don't necessarily need to provide you evidence for that. Just like if you told me an airplane flew over your house, I've had airplanes fly over my house all the time. I live in a town near an airport, so I have planes flying over all the time. That's not that weird. Just like if we were to say, hey, I saw a car crash. People have seen car crashes. We don't expect like high levels of evidence for this. But if, however, I was to tell you something ridiculous, like if I was to ever say, I went skydiving, because I'm pretty certain not many of your friends have been skydiving, not many of your friends have been scuba diving. As a matter of fact, if I was to tell you that I'm a scuba diver, right, you would probably be like, oh, that's cool. Do you have evidence of that? And then, because I do scuba dive, I would produce my dive license and I would say, here's my evidence. I got my dive license. So the more rare or unique an item is, the higher the higher the evidence needs to be. So when it comes to miracles being performed, yeah, a car crashed with an airplane. If you're here, if Washman was to come to you and say, I saw a car flying in the air crashing into an airplane, you're going to be like, I need evidence of that. Because it's just not common. It's something that we don't see. And so we need evidence of that. So when we see these miracles that are happening, because they're miracles by the very nature of they can't be repeated, there needs to be a high level of evidence for them, right? And if you don't have a high level of evidence, we just dismiss them, just like you're willing to dismiss Hanji's deity. And JB, thank you so much for the resubscription. I greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and thank you for your support. So when it comes to these miracles, we just deny them because we need a high level of evidence.
All right.
And like I said, and the thing that we're running into is like every piece of evidence that you've given, we've been able to dismantle and say, this is the issue with this. This is why we can't trust this. And then when I throw the same evidence back at you concerning Hanji, you just deny it. So we also call that special pleading.
Nice.
So yeah, but do you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for coming up. Let's give Andrew some W's. Andrew, I appreciate you being extremely respectful. I appreciate you not over talking. I appreciate you actually listening. I appreciate you actually looking things up. Like, these are things that I really appreciate. And thank you for coming up.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep. That was delightful. I actually enjoyed talking to him. That might have been boring for chat. I understand that was probably boring for chat. But I do enjoy when somebody comes up and is truly respectful. He was listening. So we're gonna go ahead and bring up this next guest over here. I have a guest over here. Coming up. I just gotta copy his stuff over to video over here so people can actually hear. There are some mistakes that you only make once. So I'll get this pasted over here. We'll get that's opened up. Come back over here to video. We'll turn me on and we'll do a solo talking. How you doing, guest? Oh, I probably gotta refresh it real quick. Can you hear me? Oh, gotta hit a refresh on this real quick. All right, we refreshed that.
Yeah.
Copy that to the clipboard. Come back over here. Properties. We'll paste. Okay. Back over here.
Hello.
Gotta enable my mic, turn it on. And can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you. And I believe you can be heard. Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. The best thing to do is mute YouTube, and just watch me on talk to me over video.
Okay.
YouTube on video. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you. And real quick, on both TikTok and YouTube, can I get ones if you can hear the guest? And Hanji and Rolly, let me know if you can hear the guest. So yeah, how old are you? Okay. Okay. Nice. And yeah, it says your audio is super loud. So let me see if I can. No, that's something on my end. I can fix that on my end. You don't need to worry about that. Does that take care of it? Can you go ahead and sing the national anthem real quick? I'm kidding. Don't sing. Yeah, I'm not gonna make you sing it. I just wanna. So
I want to check something real quick. I think I can join the YouTube live on my computer because I'm sitting from my PC, and I can have the video.
yeah, so the YouTube live, there's no YouTube live to join. I'm not able to do that, so we have to do it over Video Ninja. But yeah, so my question is, I'm a firm believer that Christianity is false. Can you provide any messianic prophecy that Jesus actually fulfilled in its original context? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we could talk about some of those things. Yeah, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There are some, but let's say I grant that he did pass away in 1 BC. That still doesn't fix
Right.
the issue with Quirinius, because we do know that Quirinius was in Judea no earlier than 5 CE, right? So there's still a time gap there of a number of years, which is still an issue, because there's still that time gap. And we do know that Quirinius was serving under, and this is from Tacitus. Tacitus writes about this. Tacitus actually writes quite a bit about Quirinius and what he was doing. He writes about Quirinius as a warrior because Quirinius was a soldier. He talks about him at the time. He is during the time of Herod. He was serving under Gaius Caesar. Gaius Caesar was Caesar Augustus's grandson, and he was serving under him as an advisor. And so that's where the issue is we do have a time issue of whether it is 4 years or 10 years. We still have a time gap that, if we're to take these as historical events, that needs to be accounted for. So that's the first issue. The second issue is, if we're to take Matthew, Matthew again also states that Herod had ordered this mass execution of all these children. But that's something that Herod would not have been allowed to do. That was something that he would have had to have gotten Rome's permission to do, because these are taxpayers. He's unaliving taxpayers essentially, and we have no records of this. And if you get a chance, go back and read what Josephus says about Herod, because Josephus hated Herod, absolutely hated Herod. Like I said, if Herod, if yeah,
Yeah.
if Herod even like looked at somebody funny, Josephus was writing about that, and Josephus makes no mention of these children being executed. Nobody makes any mention except the gospel writings, Matthew specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I lost Jaren. Oh, there it is. Never mind. So I have a book. Hold on, real quick. Chat on YouTube. Put 1 if you have not been able to hear guest. All right, go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah. So I would say um, we both here have a presuppositional bias, especially when it comes to looking at evidence. And, I might take the former rather than the latter as far as that goes when it comes to our presupposition.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's in Luke chapter 2 actually. So we can find him in Luke chapter 2. Okay, if you can't hear, so it sounds like. Hold on, real quick. It sounds like it might be. I might have to keep his volume up. For him to be heard over on YouTube. Sounds like when I turn his volume down, YouTube can't hear him. Oh, it's just the way the app works because I'm on. So I use Video Ninja on the web browser, and then I have to port it into OBS, and then from OBS it ports it between TikTok and YouTube. But anyway, so yeah, if you go to Luke chapter 2, it's in verse 2. But yeah, I can spell for you. It's Quirinius, Quirinius. We don't have many. I don't think we have any of his writings. I'd go look. I don't think we have any of his writings. Mainly because when you're in those positions, you didn't necessarily write unless you needed to. Usually, you had scribes that would write for you. But like I said, we do have Tacitus. Tacitus does write about him, though. Tacitus writes, yeah, Tacitus writes quite extensively about him.
At the time. By the way, I do appreciate you being patient with me and looking things up and everything.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah. With those things, and I simply don't believe that's to be the case as well. But that's also from my background as well. I wouldn't say a lot of those are purely evidence based. Now, didn't you say something? I can't remember right off the top of my head about a contradiction scripturally was.
Like, what do you mean?
I thought you said something along the lines of a contradiction in the text.
Oh, yeah, we just say that the birth stories have a contradiction because only one of them could be true. Did it take place in 4 BCE or did it take place in 6 CE? Some other contradictions that we can run into as well, though, is where Paul, like, is constantly going against the teachings of Christ. Paul didn't. I'm convinced that if Paul and Jesus ever met each other, we'd have an amazing UFC fight. So that's a contradiction. Oh, well, like, for example, so Jesus and Peter taught, that baptism by both water and the Spirit was required. But Paul says nothing about baptism by water. He's like, the Spirit's just enough. We have cases where like Jesus is a fan of the old law. In fact, in Mark 7, we have a case where the Pharisees are, they can't hear guest again. Trying to not blow out people's ears, but we'll turn guest back up. But we have a case in. No, it's an OBS thing. But we do have a case. Yeah, Mark 7. We have a case where Jesus is chastising the Pharisees start chastising him and the apostles because they're not washing their hands. The Pharisees started implementing hand washing, which is not found in Torah, and they're chastising Jesus and the disciples for not washing their hands, and then Jesus starts chastising them, and he says like, look, you guys are holding to this human tradition, but don't do that. Like, follow the law. God gave us the law. Follow the law. Let me see if I can put on a noise gate. Let me go check. Hold on one moment. Gonna see if this will let me put a noise gate on. Audio settings. All right, try talking now. I did put a noise gate on. Let's see if.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there wasn't a noise gate on. Try talking now. All right. All right, now try talking.
Yes.
Is that better? Can you guys hear him better now? It has noise gate and then there's noise suppression. So I turned the noise suppression off. So hopefully that makes it better. So anyways, so yeah, Jesus is chastising them for not following the law, and he says, look, we have the law of Moses. Moses said if a child curses father or mother, then they need to be put to death. And if you're following these human traditions, then you're nullifying the word of God. Oh yeah. If you're in the temple, the Levites were required to wash their hands. Yes, the Levites had to. If you're doing anything inside of the temple, yes, you did have to wash your hands inside the temple because you're handling sacrifices. So when you're in the temple, absolutely hand washing, but outside. But like we have these, but there's other issues that we have as well. Like for example, you and I, like for example, if I was to point out like we have an Amber Alert going off, and unfortunately Amber Alerts, when your phone is silenced and all that, the Amber Alerts, well, I mean, it's a good thing, not unfortunate, it's a good thing, but the Amber Alerts still go off. But yeah, so the issue that we run into is that we get issues with the text where David, well, text just isn't quoted correctly. Whenever, especially Matthew's horrible. Like, whoever said Matthew is writing for the Jews clearly doesn't understand that Matthew probably wasn't Jew. So I'm a mythicist. I don't believe Matthew existed. I don't even believe Jesus historically existed. But I'm looking at this from your lens, from your worldview.
Yeah.
And so Matthew just didn't understand Judaism. And there's a few good examples about this. One of them is when it talks about Jesus turning over the money changers, right? That gets brought up. But do you know why that's an issue? Why that story is an issue for Jesus? Because exchanging, because the story, what you were probably taught was that they were exchanging money, and the temple was only a house of worship, correct? Is that what you're taught in seminary? Yeah, the temple. Mm-hmm. Well, do you know what the Torah, did you know the Torah allowed this to happen, though? The Torah was okay with the exchanging of doves and stuff inside the temple.
Yeah.
It was, so, yeah, we'll read this. So if you go to Deuteronomy 14, yep. So what we have is the tabernacle, right? The tabernacle was a traveling temple. And once David was king, once Saul, they set up in Jerusalem, until Solomon built the temple, they were using the tabernacle. And in Deuteronomy 14, it says, "But if, when the Lord your God has blessed you, the distance is so great that you are unable to transport it," talking about your sacrifice, "because the place where the Lord your God will choose to set his name is too far away from you, then you may turn it into money. With the money secure in hand, go to the place that the Lord your God will choose. Spend the money for whatever you wish: oxen, sheep, wine, strong drink, or whatever you desire, and you shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God." And that's how we know that it's the temple, because the only place that you were truly in the presence of God was at the temple, because the Holy of Holies, where the Ark and the Covenant was set, the Ark and the Covenant was like his throne. That's the purpose of the Ark and the Covenant. It was God's throne, right? Which is why nobody was allowed to touch except the priests. Again, because they were washing their hands. And he says, "You shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your household rejoicing together." So Jesus is perfectly, or not, sorry, not Jesus. God is perfectly okay with the selling of sacrifices. And the way it would work is you would raise your animal, you'd raise the sacrifice yourself, and then you would sell it if the distance was great. If you had to travel a long distance, then you could sell it and take that money and essentially go to the temple and do whatever you needed to there. It was allowed. But Matthew didn't know this. He didn't understand it. And so he just, and in Greek culture, since they had temples in every town, right? In Greek culture, Greco-Roman, you were not allowed to do that. You could not buy sacrifices in the temple. You had to buy them outside the temple. And when we read, especially Matthew conflates a lot of Greco-Roman mythology and confuses it with Jewish mythology, if that makes sense.
Yeah. outside the temple. And you know very well know about the tabernacle and the setup of it, and how the Holy of Holies, yeah, no one was allowed to go in there and set up, except the high priest, and that was to sprinkle blood or to, light the incense, all that. And then they had the different layers of the outside, in which
Correct.
only some of the Levites was able to do some of the things in there. Now, I don't see specifically from what you were seeing from Deuteronomy in the place where some of the people weren't allowed.
So we're on verse 22. So we're in chapter 14, Deuteronomy 14. So you'll see where it says set up, yep. Verse 22, set apart a tithe. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so you'll see there where it's talking about let me get this brought back up. Set apart a tithe of all the yield of your seed that is brought in yearly from the field. So the tithe is just like a sacrifice. It's just a term for sacrifice. In the presence of the Lord your God, in the place that he will choose as a dwelling for his name. So that's the temple. You shall eat the tithe of your grain, your wine, and your oil, as well as the firstlings of your herd and flock, so that you may learn to fear the Lord your God. But if, when the Lord your God has blessed you, and the distance is so great that you are unable to transport it, because the place where the Lord your God will choose to set his name is too far away from you, then you may turn it into money. With the money secure in hand, go to the place the Lord your God will choose. Spend the money for whatever you wish, oxen, sheep, wine, strong drink, whatever you desire, and you shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your household rejoicing together. So that's where it's talking about that. So that was allowed in the temple.
Okay.
Yep. And so again, this is just Matthew just not understanding, but we also get this again, one of the biggest translation errors that we have. So the way it worked in Jewish culture during the temple era is you had to go to the temple to learn. The only people that were authorized to teach Torah were the Levitical priests. Nobody else was allowed to teach Torah. Now, you'd have the Pharisees. The Pharisees would take Torah and they would it became what is known as like the Talmud today. They would manipulate the Torah potentially, but they weren't allowed to actually teach Torah. That had to be taught at the temple. And one thing that we run into, an issue that we run into, and it's a historical error where you really got to deep dive into history, is we know that the Bible that the laymen were using was a Septuagint. So Matthew had a Septuagint, but the Septuagint has some translation errors in it. One of them is one of the big glaring ones, and it's one of the first prophecies that Matthew point out that Jewish people, we look at it. It's one of the reasons why when I deconstructed from Judaism and I looked at Christianity, I literally read, I couldn't even get past Matthew chapter 2 because I'm like, this Matthew guy doesn't know Jewish culture. Like, he doesn't understand the Hebrew text. So in Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, there's a translation error in there. That happened in, so it's not a translation error in the Septuagint. So the word in Hebrew is olma. Did they cover this at all in your seminary?
See, I didn't take Hebrew.
Oh,
But I
okay.
did take Greek.
Okay. So
I do know
olma.
Greek.
Okay, yeah. So alma in Hebrew means a young woman, right? But it does not mean virgin, right? A lot of people will sit there and say, well, a young woman was a virgin. That's not true because there is a root of alma called almanah. Almanah is a widow. It is a young woman whose husband passed away. So, alma does not ever reference a virgin, ever, in Hebrew. The Hebrew word we have for virgin is specifically Betula. Betula specifically is used for virgin. So in Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, this is the great verse that Christians like to use, where it talks about so we have a case in Isaiah 7. All of Isaiah 7 is about this war. So Ahaz is king. Ahaz was the worst king Judah ever had. He literally nailed the temple doors shut. And he's being attacked by two kings, Rezin and Pekah. And Pekah was from Israel. And he's getting attacked by these two kingdoms. And Isaiah goes to him and essentially comes to him 3 times. The first time he comes to him and says, hey, look, this sucks. You're in a shitty position. But have faith. If you have faith, you won't fall. And then he leaves. But Ahaz is not he knows he's a crappy king. He knows he doesn't have favor with the Lord. So Isaiah comes a second time and he says, look, go talk to the Lord yourself. Go ask him, and God himself will tell you that you're going to be okay. And Ahaz says, look, I can't do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go ask God a dumb question like that. And then Isaiah says, look, fine. If you're not going to do it, God's going to give it to you anyways. And then he gives the prophecy, look. And in the Hebrew, it says, ha'alma hara. Ha'alma hara in Hebrew means the young woman is pregnant, right? Like currently pregnant, not will be pregnant, but is pregnant. And then it talks about how the young woman's pregnant, and when she gives birth, the child, then we get some age markers. The child's going to be old enough to eat curds and honey, and he's going to be old enough to choose the good and evil. But before he's old enough to choose the good and evil, before he's that age, the two kings of which Ahaz is afraid of, again, Rezin and Pekah, are going to be destroyed by Assyria. That's what the prophecy is about. And it talks about how this child's name is going to be Emmanuel.
Yeah,
And yeah. Now, in the Septuagint, it translates Alma as Parthenos, which is fine for its time. And this is where you got to learn the historicity of Greek. At the time of its writing, when the Septuagint was being translated, Parthenos was perfectly fine, because in that time period, when they look at literature from that time period, anytime Parthenos was used in the Greek, it was used referencing virgins, or sorry, not virgins, young women, a woman that was young, but not virgins. However, once we get into antiquity, to the time of Jesus, Parthenos was no longer used to reference young women. It was used to reference strictly virgins, almost strictly virgins. And we can see the change in the writing throughout Greek history. We see this through the mythologies that are told, and we see where Parthenos means a young woman to meaning strictly a virgin. And so in Matthew's time, when he's reading the Septuagint, it had changed to meaning a virgin. But had Matthew actually been Jewish, had he actually been going and training under the Levites in the temple, as Jewish people would have, he would have known the Hebrew context behind it, and he never would have made that mistake, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yep.
I really don't know what to say, because I don't have enough knowledge on that subject, specifically on Hebrew.
Yep.
I'll have to do some more research into that, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
as far as the Greek, I can see that. Let me see.
And Blake, real quick, is the sound better over on YouTube? I'm like looking over 2 screens to see which one Blake's going to mention in, he's going to respond in. Oh, you can go ahead and answer. We don't need to wait for Blake's response. I'll just read it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It keeps going in and out. I will talk with Benny and see how we fix that. Let me see. Yeah, there's no filters on it on this end on
The YouTube end.
OBS. So I will definitely take a look at that. Anyways, did you have anything else though?
Actually, I don't think so at the moment. But
Okay.
I do appreciate your conversation with.
Nope, I will talk. So don't get me wrong. There are absolutely times when I will turn this debate into a blood sport for chat. Like, if you be disingenuine with me, I will absolutely turn this into a blood sport. But I appreciate you. Hey, give me But hey, give me a subscription on YouTube. I'm usually live Sunday through Thursday. Give me a follow on there. Give me a subscription. And then if you're on TikTok, follow me on TikTok as well. And then we can have you come up on there, and we can definitely talk out again.
Yeah.
All right. And what'd you say your name was again? And what'd you say your name was again? Lance. All right. Let's give Lance some massive W's in both TikTok and YouTube. I appreciate it, but I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate.
All right. Those on YouTube, I apologize. I apologize that was going in and out for you. Tootski has joined. If you're not, let's see if Tootski wants to come up. I don't know if Tootski wants to come up, but we'll bring Tootski up. Tootski's probably gonna give me middle fingers. I'm gonna watch that invited box light back up. But Tootski is a friend of the channel. So if you're not following Tootski, give Tootski a follow. And with that said, let's see. I don't have anybody else on Video Ninja. Lime, that is the dumbest thing I've heard all night. When you breathe, it creates a Yahweh sound. That is the dumbest thing I've heard all night. It does not make a Yahweh sound. Yeesh. Get a job. I do have a job. I actually have a full-time job that I work over 40 hours on. I work over 40 hours. But luckily I only work 4 days a week, so that gives me plenty of time to be on here and to troll and yell at Christians all day and to trigger Christians. Yeah. If your breathing sounds like Yahweh, get that checked out.
Hello.
Hello, can I get your age?
I'm 22. I'm an atheist. I just wanted to thank you, Cyber, for helping me deconstruct from this cult. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you listening in. I appreciate your support. And yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm glad you were able to get the brain parasite out of your head. How old did you say you were again?
I'm 22.
Okay, I was about to say, have you ever read the Animorph books? But you're way too young for that. But I'm glad you're able to get the yerk out of your brain. So,
Yeah, thank you, Cyber. I'll drop down. Thank you so much.
All right, not a problem. Yeah, deconstructing is hard. It is a lifelong path. I don't think anybody is ever 100% deconstructed. It's a path. People come to it, people fall back out. Um, in fact, I'm trying to remember his name. The Bible guy. I'm trying to remember his first. Dalton. Put ones in the chat on both TikTok and YouTube. Put ones in the chat if you remember Dalton, the Bible guy. So I'm curious to start seeing if we see some ones in the chat for Dalton, the Bible guy. He's a Christian. He's a Christian. He never deconstructed. He was grifting. He quit because he was grifting. Yeah, Dalton was grifting. He was never atheist. He's always been Christian. And somebody from his congregation went up on his live and called him out for it. And he hasn't been back on since. Yep, he was just trying to, yeah, he was literally just trying to grift and make money off of us. And yeah, somebody, so yeah, it was wild. Just reading over here. Jesus is Lord. No, Ashland, from my understanding, Ashland was not in on it. Ashland was not in on it. I don't know. I don't. I've known Ashland for a while. I trust Ashland, and I don't think Ashland was. I don't think Ashland would have put up with that if she was aware of it. So I don't think there's any bad faith in Ashland at all. Just in Dalton. And Dalton and I had issues before. I used to do I started out doing religion, and then I stopped doing religion. I started doing religion mixed with LGBTQIA+. I do mix. And Dalton would come on my live a few times, and he and I had some questions about his actual religious affiliation, because I'd point things out. Like, I'd point out where Alma did not mean virgin. It never means virgin. Betula does. And he would argue with me about that. Like, we got in arguments about that, and we got into arguments about some of his like gross mispronunciation of Hebrew words. He learned Hebrew from the Strong's Concordance. Like, he doesn't know Hebrew. He learned it from the Strong's Concordance. That's where he knows it from. And he mispronounces words all the time. He doesn't know how to conjugate them. Like, blah. So yeah, there was issues. But yeah, he's been a Christian this entire time. Oh, no. Grifting is when I am doing something that, like, I don't believe in or I don't want to do, but it's for the sole purpose of gaining money. That's grifting. I'm not grifting. In fact, tonight especially, I might have made 15 cents tonight. Possibly only 15 cents. Platform comes and goes. I think Platform might have got himself bananaed though. Platform. I learned this from Parker did it once, and I thought it was hilarious, so I did it. Platform, being as super Catholic as he is, holds to sola scriptura, And so with platform, all you would literally need to do is say, "Oh, is slavery okay?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, slavery 100% justified." If you were to, if slavery was around today, he'd be all for it, because he'd have to be, because the scriptures support it. And so I think he probably got himself beamed. But I did hear there's a rumor saying that he is starting to make his rounds again. So I don't know. But what is fun to do with platform is you have platform up, and then you bring up a Protestant, right? Or a Mormon. Bring up a Protestant or a Mormon, and you just sit back, relax, and let them yell at each other. Mainly platform. All of a sudden deciding he's your best friend as the host, and he thinks you guys are just going to gang up on this Protestant, and you just sit back, relax, and just watch the blood sports begin. But yeah, platform is an interesting cookie. But hey, I am probably gonna call it a night here, though. Gonna call it a night. I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. Let's go take a look and see who we are going to raid. Let's go take a look, see who's live right now. Let's go raid. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's go raid Tiny. So it's going to be Tiny Smoz. Yeah, and if somebody knows, if somebody wants to put Tiny's at in, as a matter of fact, I'll just look them up here. So it's going to be Tiny _ science. And I don't think he has a YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go raid Thinker. Thinker's at for YouTube. Oh, I can't look at it right now. But anyways, we're going to go raid Tiny. When we get in there, say Cyber says get a Bible or Cyber raid. Even if you don't plan on staying there, do the raid. Cyber says get a Bible. Hit the little gold coin next to his name. Leave a message. If you can, help him achieve whatever his goal is, especially a team gift. And I will definitely see you all on Sunday. I might see you Saturday night, though. I don't know yet, but I'll definitely see you all Sunday night. And you all have a fantastic evening. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for the gifts. I greatly appreciate it. And those on YouTube, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for helping me reach my watch hours as we make progress towards the 3,000 that I need. And I'll see you all on Sunday.